the fact that we have to make these distinctions in 2022. I was talking about this with somebody the other day, with the whole thing about the black coaches and how it's now 2.5 men. And you're thinking that we have to make these distinctions at this point, and that the NFL has to reach and go, wow, he's half a black guy, that McDaniel, half a black guy. There you go. It's working. And you're thinking, why do we have to make these distinctions with white and black? I know it sounds kind of simple to say that, but why can't people just accept each other for who and what they are? And if you look at Lubie and me, obviously we're white and have benefited from the fact that we don't have to add in. It's like these people are walking around, unfortunately, sadly, to say today, with at least one strike on them from birth.
Yep.
It's kind of a sad statement that this is where we're at today.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
On a beautiful Friday morning, good to be with you here on Ion Channel. It's the Defo Show. Jeff Deforrest, along with one Mike Lubitz. And, of course, if it's Friday, that means it's time to degenerate, people. We're heading for the weekend.
It's time.
Have to get some gambling in. I already have my kind of, I wouldn't call it secret plan, but I'm figuring as soon as I'm done with what I need to do on the broadcasting front, that ends about 1 o'clock after that Mike Mayo Lunchbox show that airs here in South Florida locally in Broward County on the Odyssey app if you want to catch it if you're around the country there, where Mike Mayo reviews various restaurants. And today he's going to be out live from a place called A Cut Above. It's a butcher shop, which might be appropriate for the way that our gambling has gone over the... No, we've done very well this year. I'm amazed. I was just thinking about it. Mark Lawrence nailed the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Had the Rams to win the Super Bowl before the season started at 12-1. Hedges off, gets 4 points with the Cincinnati Bengals. Comes on the show last week, a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the great people at Gulfstream Park, and gives a very eloquent explanation of why he feels that it's actually advantageous to take Cincinnati and the points. Remember, we almost fell out of our chairs when he said that he had the Rams. He told you that before he came on the air.
Yes, that was it.
And we thought, no, Mark, don't do it. Don't give out a favorite on this show. You've never done it. I've known Mark Lawrence, I would say, the better part of 20-plus years. And he's come on a zillion shows with me over the years and never given out a team that was laying points. Never. And has a very positive upside record. I would have to say in excess of 60%, which is usually the break-even point if you're handicapping games. But that also involves betting favorites as well. So I would imagine if you're taking the underdog and occasionally spurging on the money line, which Mark Lawrence, I would imagine, is inclined to do, playbooksports.com is his fine publication. It's now an online publication, and wow. I mean, dynamite stuff. And did you catch that? You talk about a guy that's just fudging it, right? It's not like you got Anita Marks coming on and going, yeah, I like the Bills today. I don't know why I pick on Anita Marks. I guess I saw the guy that actually launched her whole career out of nowhere last night at an event. Mike Mayo and I attended an event in Deerfield Beach, Florida, the Delray Beach, Florida, the Delray Open. How could the Delray Open be in Deerfield Beach? They're like one and the same to me, all of those areas. As you get north of where I live in Pompano Beach, Florida, you got what? You have Lighthouse Point, you have Delray, and I guess Lighthouse Point, Deerfield, Delray, right? Is that how it goes, Lubie?
Yes.
My
geography
is off a little bit.
Delray is more north, yes.
Yeah, a great area, too. I mean, you talk about a city or a town that knew how to develop itself. Now they may have all kinds of inherent problems that they haven't been able to overcome over the years. I don't know. Are people living in Delray Beach in dire poverty somewhere? I would imagine so. It seems like that's the MO in Florida. It was one of the weirdest things about moving to South Florida, where you could be in the ritziest neighborhood, literally, like Ritz-Carlton penthouse type of neighborhood, and a block away, just be looking at, unfortunately, dire poverty and desperation. And schmutz all over the place, and people that look like they're really struggling to just make it through the day. It's weird how coincidental it is and how intertwined it is. Did you find? Well, you grew up here, Lubie, and
Yes.
in a nice lily white Jewish neighborhood. There is no such thing, is there?
No, it was not that. It wasn't bad. It was a fine neighborhood, but it was very multicultural. My whole life I've been surrounded by people of all cultures.
Yeah.
And socioeconomic backgrounds.
That was the MO in Brooklyn, that's for sure. I mean, on my street was a mixed bag of I guess you would say it's kind of an ethnic. No, not ethnic. What would it be? You had a lot of different countries represented: Italians, Irish, Jewish,
That's
but it
nice.
was all white people on one block. One block away, you had a rooster crowing, and that was like the greeting that you had into going into a Puerto Rican neighborhood. And of course, on the other side was a black neighborhood, and you would intertwine with each other and intermingle with each other, usually through sports, which I always thought was a great salvation. That's why it's so weird that sports is causing so much divide now with all of this nonsense that's going on in the National Football League. I don't want to label it as nonsense. Yeah, go ahead and arbitrarily, because it does make perfect sense that this is what's going on because it is reflective of what's happening in the world, is it not? What's happening in the National Football League, where all of these issues to bring about social change have really done little to bring about much of anything, except people talk about it, they pay token homage to it, they pay a lot of lip service to it, they find a lot of cosmetic ways of making things happen. But the actual advancement to the point where, as we sort of alluded to in that opening clip, which here we are once again all week long, Lubie, you've had us as an advocate for social change, which people just tune in this show to have a good laugh and maybe figure out which way to go, the opposite way of whatever it is that we're predicting here on the program.
I'm more why they're doing it.
I almost got involved in a golf pool, speaking of degeneracy, because a lot of people are going to be jonesing now and going through all kinds of gambling withdrawal. Because most people, I think, the majority of people, when they're gambling on sports, the concentration of their efforts is almost entirely on the football season, is it not? I mean, you almost have to, go out there and beat the drum to get people to bet on basketball in this town. College basketball in South Florida is almost a non-entity, and we have lost track. We're guilty of it ourselves, are we not, Mike Lubitz? After Jim Larinaga came on the show and they had that nice run and they beat Duke, and then they subsequently went out and lost to Florida State. But after they had that nice run, have we mentioned college basketball even once?
No, not at all. Not even a little.
You become conditioned to it, where it's huge in other cities and in other states around the country, but very marginal participation in, I would imagine, wagering and certainly viewership here, college basketball. And the University of Miami basketball team is actually one of 4 ACC teams that the experts feel, the people that handicap this kind of action, feel are destined to make the NCAA tournament this year. So we have a team that's rebounding from just absolutely COVID-devastated previous season, and they're going to make the NCAA tournament this year, and you can't find any information about them, can you, Mike Lubitz? Aside from that one great conversation we had with the great, brilliant Jim Larinaga, who obviously has done a tremendous job this year. My man Rick Pitino is a sleeper in this. Now he's my man, Lubie. You notice? I've taken him over.
Well, he's been cool enough with us for a while that you've, sort of, I guess I wouldn't say claimed Rick Pitino, but
well, he is the godfather of Degenerate Friday, you would have to say. I mean, every time you think about his participation on this show, and we have had him on a couple of times, it was absolutely fantastic. Just a spellbinding storyteller and a great, great speaker. Obviously, would be a huge motivational speaker if he isn't already. And that's a pretty good deal, right? Did you catch that with Dave Hyde yesterday? How about Jimmy Johnson? Goes and gives some motivational speech for an hour, and his compensation is enough. I don't know if they threw this in as part of his pay for coming up and giving a speech, but his compensation is enough for him to go ahead and rent a private jet. Rent a private jet. That goes for like what? How much does it cost to fly privately? If you're just renting a plane for one day, is that like 30 grand or something?
No,
what do you think?
Chartering is not cheap. I mean, but they have these companies now where you can be like a member.
Oh yeah,
for a certain fee a month, and then you get either unlimited to certain destinations or certain amount of times. I mean, if a guy like Jimmy Johnson, that's probably the best move for like a Fox to pay for that, because they've okayed him going back and forth. I would think Fox sort of pays for him to have the ability to be on a charter jet.
You think they paid for his like NetJets membership? Is that it?
Exactly, something like that. It would behoove them to do that. The amount they would pay for it to fly him out first class, like every week, it'd be worth it to do. Like the fees aren't that bad if you have tons of money and fly a lot. The fees actually aren't bad.
Well, maybe not. And then on top of that, you can write it all off and probably write
Exactly.
off, some extravagant amount of other expenses that you had on the trip. And meanwhile, you're getting paid like 150 grand to go up and speak for 25 minutes.
Exactly.
I think we need to really rethink the way that. Well, you're still young, Luby. You haven't
I
really.
know.
I didn't really get my whole thing going. I would say
Stage,
at
mid
the level that
30s.
it became until I was 40.
Okay, well, I
I
have a
mean, I was
chance.
involved in the business since my early and mid 20s, and
Mhm.
always, was involved in some kind of sports activity in terms of having a job related around sports, going back to when I was 14
Mm.
and hawking souvenirs at Shea. That would have been a tough job though. Today, I was just looking at some baseball stuff about how people are missing the season, and they're running out of stories when they get down to how it impacts the vendors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, people make money off spring training, do they not? People rent their
Sure.
homes out, during spring training. All of those people in Jupiter,
Yep. Or
right, that are
Louis.
renting their homes to St. Louis Cardinal fans. The
Yep.
Marlins train there as well, but you saw what happens when the Cardinals play. That people come down from St. Louis. They're so enamored and so enthralled and so into baseball that they spend their entire spring here
Yep.
watching Cardinal baseball, and those games are packed when they play up there at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter.
Yeah.
And it has to have some impact on the local economy. And whenever they get down to the story about the poor vendors, nobody really cares about the guys that are selling souvenirs and stuff like that. You don't really see as much of it too as you used to, where you have vendors going through the stands. Do you notice that? It's not a big
No,
thing here in South Florida. Having a
no.
guy rolling around. I mean, if you were at Shea Stadium back in the day or Yankee Stadium, that there wasn't one time where there weren't like three different people in the aisle, each aisle selling something. You had massive crews out there trying to hawk stuff at those games. But it would be hard to do that when I was living in New York. You had to be 16 to be able to work at night. You could get a worker's permit, is what you needed at 14 years old. Now in China, that's a whole other thing, right? You're getting your work permit at like 5 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Phil, we got some people here. Don't worry, we'll run the factory 24 hours, no problem. That's never mentioned in this Beijing Olympic coverage. Have you noticed that? Nothing about the sweatshops in China.
Not even a little.
You don't see Kathy Lee Gifford appearing on there, do you?
Nope.
She's still around? Kathy Lee Gifford?
Alive. I don't know if she does work.
Boy, she has disappeared from the public consciousness, has she not? She used to be just an omnipresent factor
Yes.
here. She was on virtually every show. Hey, Good Morning America, Kathy Lee Gifford. Good Morning America Postscript, Kathy Lee Gifford. Wide World of Sports, Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yep.
Cruise commercials, Kathy Lee Gifford. What was she belting out? What was the big song in those cruise ship commercials she used to do? God bless America. Anyway, it's just crazy how baseball has changed to the point where at 14 I could only work day games. But I worked a lot of games, Lubie. There were day games every Saturday and Sunday. There were usually, or was usually during any homestand, at least one or two even weekday day games, I want to say. And so, I got to work a lot of games from 14 to 16. And then once I started working at night, I was working all of the games. And it was fantastic. But, it's not really a viable entity. And baseball has found a way to just shelve spring training, which, remember, we used to think that the sickest of degenerates were people that were betting the Pro Bowl. But now it's, I mean, if you're betting spring training baseball, exhibition football is pretty lame also, although I ran into a gentleman last night that's a huge advocate. I think he limits his action to the preseason. Our good friend, the Greek, who I'm trying to connect with
No.
Jack Namer and get him to do some kind of a show here on Ion Channel. And it would be License to Steal, I think was the name we came up with.
It's a
The Greek,
perfect
License
name.
to Steal. And,
Yes.
he could get all of his, he's got some serious Vegas handicappers, guys
Yes.
that really know how to dope stuff out.
Yep. Yep.
He's got his guys, and they all have nicknames: Teddy Covers, Johnny Roast Beef, that sort of thing. And they're very articulate, much like Mark Lawrence is, at giving you their opinion about what might happen with a lot of calculations, mathematical permutations that they've worked out to try and figure out who is going to come out on top against the spread in any sport. And we're not going to deviate from our plan here. I know Mark Lawrence is taking a little hiatus while he puts together next year's NFL and college football guide, which is a magnificent piece of work. And I understand the dedication in that, but he's going to join us again around March Madness and help us handicap some games. And I think I'm working on this, although I'm not sure what my status is right now with the Caesars rewards people, because I don't gamble enough when I'm on these trips in the kind of fashion that they would like to see you. I play marginal amounts of money in slot machines. I would say very little. Video poker, for some reason, they don't consider to be highly worthy of reward when it comes to giving you points and all kinds of things. I don't know why. Maybe that's because is it a game that you have a half a chance in? Is that why they don't want you
I
playing?
was going to say you might not automatically lose. Exactly.
Well, it's not quite as random and arbitrary as playing a slot machine, is it? I mean, Mustang thinks she actually has a strategy for playing slot machines. Is there really a strategy?
No.
You're sitting there, the thing rolls around, it stops wherever it wants to. I mean, you might be able to prematurely stop it, but it doesn't seem to really do any good, right?
No.
Because when you see like the jackpot symbol come down in the first slot, jackpot symbol come down in the second slot, say you were playing like Wheel of Fortune, you need to line up like 3 Wheel of Fortunes.
Yeah.
Although that game is not as popular. What happened? Did Vanna White lose her looks or something?
Oh, that used to be a big deal. The Wheel of Fortune used to be like a really big thing when it first came out.
Everybody wanted to play the Wheel of Fortune slot machine, but you can barely find one, and when you do, it's not the same as it used to be. That could be the problem, though. Everybody wanted to play them because you had a shot to win, and as soon as the casino people figured out, with the exception of Hialeah Park and the people at Gulfstream, as soon as they figured out that you have a chance to win, they put those machines on a tarmac and sent them shipping as quickly as they could on a cargo flight to Venezuela, no?
Yeah, when you first walked in, it was like the first thing because it was like this big glitzy thing. And now that's true. Like the last few times I've been in casinos, it's hard to find the wheel.
Oh, they're tucked in the corner there with the old lady with the lipstick smeared across her, not her lip, but like her upper, right under her nose.
Yeah.
And the cigarette with the ashes that are like a foot long that are just about to drop on the floor. And you're thinking, how on earth is that trail of ashes still hanging on to the filter on that cigarette? I mean, she's got lung cancer written all over her, and she's playing what looks to be, at best, her last dollar or something that she conjured up while soliciting, contributions on the street. Went right in to play this slot machine that's buried in the corner there. And the casino people, they don't mind that she comes in out of the cold or whatever and, spends a couple of bucks in the slot machine. But that's where you find a Wheel of Fortune machines now. In casinos, you rarely see them. They have all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yep.
Lubie, have you been in a casino recently? I mean, they have things with bulls running and knights, gladiators, crazy stuff and you have no idea what the hell is going on with these machines.
That's my problem. Like Shirley and I did it. We went to a show at Hard Rock and like by the main arena, they had like this one machine there was this monster and there was like a line and we finally got our turn and we sat there for 20 minutes and we're like, did we win? We just kept playing.
No idea. Yeah, no, the things just keep rolling. I remember my experience with slot machines, and this is indicative and typical of my whole gambling lifetime. But when the MGM Grand in Las Vegas reopened as the MGM Grand that it is today, I was there several times covering various fights. I think that was at a time when Mike Tyson was in prison. And so Don King was banking on fighting Julio Cesar Chavez every week on a pay-per-view event. Didn't matter who he was fighting. Didn't matter how shot Julio Cesar Chavez was. In fact, he blatantly lost a couple of these fights, and they still gave him the decision. It was amazing. As Don King walked out arm in arm with 3 of the judges. Melvina Lathan scores a fight. You're like, Melvina? I thought she was banned from the game after that last hideous decision she rendered. And I got screwed on one of those. I've told the story many times. Last fight of a 3-fight parlay. It was Julio Cesar Chavez in a rematch against a guy named Frankie Randall, I believe was his name. And Randall had beaten Chavez badly the first time they fought. And now they're in a rematch, and they just absolutely jobbed this guy, Randall, who, easily was winning the fight. Cut occurred. They come up with some cockamamie rule that they're going to score this last round, even though it was only like halfway completed. The cut was on Chavez. Randall had zero to do with it. I mean, it was an accidental headbutt or whatever. But they stopped the fight and give it to Chavez. And they literally were turning over the craps tables on the way out. And these were the Chavez fans with the red bandanas. They were so pissed because the Mexican people, I'll give them this as sports fans, they don't not want to be lied to. You know, they know their guy lost.
Yep.
And they're upset that he wasn't tagged with that loss and didn't have to kind of stand up and see where he was going to go from there. And they literally they turned over all of the dice tables there. It was like a prelude to when was it? Was it a Super Bowl where one of the football players was shot? This was at a time when there was a lot of racial turmoil. And there was like a shooting in the casino. Remember this? It was a few years ago, Lubie.
I'm trying to remember. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, chaos in a casino is not something that you necessarily want to be a part of, including, and as we said, I mean, how is it possible that Tupac Shakur could get gunned down a block away from the MGM Grand and 25,000 people are leaving, or 15,000 people are leaving a Tyson fight?
No one knows.
I didn't see nothing. Nothing. Was that Suge Knight was involved in that? I don't want to say anything. Suge Knight checked out, right? So you don't have to worry about saying things about Suge Knight anymore?
Suge Knight's gone. He died.
Yeah.
It's a work.
I mean, Suge Knight, it was one of those things where somebody, would make some comment about him, on a radio show in Minnesota, and the next thing you know, they turned up dead in the trunk of their car.
It was like some mafia stuff.
How did that happen? Unbelievable. But now we're going to have a lot of fun on the program today. The professor's going to join us, and he's going to reprise his unfortunate losing opinion on the national anthem last week, but he did it in such brilliance that you really couldn't even care if you lost money on that thing. Right? I mean, dead wrong. Swayed me away from a winning opinion. A minute 35. I'm thinking 2 minutes for the anthem. I would have gone under, if it was 2 minutes, but 1:35, tough. I ended up parlaying that to the first time out being called by McVay.
You nailed.
Well, and the professor would say this, though, in his own defense on this, that he doesn't like parlays.
Yeah, he told you to stay away from it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that he really was all that emphatic in his warning that this was going to go south.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it'd be kind of fun, to have that kind of weird action on the Super Bowl, which a lot of people get involved in those box things. I am horrible at those those square things. I'm inclined to, and the bartender or whoever, the manager of the place that's running these kind of things. Almost every bar has one, right? A box pool.
I know Landlubbers has a million. Landlubbers is like all over it with those things.
Yeah. And I've seen them go anywhere. I mean, the one I was in was like $100 a square, which would make it worthwhile if you won, but you're not going to win if your numbers are 2 and 8. What do we have? Yeah, we had 8 and 5 in one, and 9 and 9 in the other.
5.
When do you see football games tied at 9 apiece? 29-19. Does that seem like a score that you would come up with? 19-9, maybe. I don't know.
Like, and this is like at the end of a quarter, right? Like
end of the quarter, half, 3/4, and no, these box pools are every score change. So in other words, if you have 3 and 0, if you have 0 and 0, if you have the 2 zeros, each team with 0, then you have an automatic winner as soon as the kickoff goes.
Okay.
So you'll get paid, and I it's varying degrees of the payout depending on what part of the game you're in, and then there are much larger payoffs for having it at the end of the quarter, the half, 3/4, and of course the game is usually the biggest of the jackpots. But there are minor rewards for hitting every score change. So with those numbers, though, 9 and 9, I mean, there was an outside chance, and it's so weird how it impacts your thinking and disorients you when you're betting money on games, and that's the beauty of being a degenerate, because the game was going along, and you were thinking, wow, the Rams are kind of controlling this thing, and then Cincinnati gets a field goal, and I'm looking at it going, all right, Rams missed an extra point, so they have 13, and it was like 13-3, and you're thinking, I need Cincinnati to get 2 more field goals, and the Rams to score a touchdown, and then go for 2 and miss. And so, again, that's why highlight was such a beautiful sport here in South Florida. And anywhere else where it was contested, which was fairly limited. I mean, they had a thing in Connecticut, I believe. You had a few other frontons around the state of Florida, but they were real dumps. I mean, you had to be a sick degenerate to be in there. It was kind of like being at the Triple X Theater in Syracuse.
You're like hiding.
Yeah. Where it's you and Tiny Tim are like the only guys in the theater there. And you're both in the balcony. There's one guy downstairs throwing up because the thing is like so grotesque.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, highlight. It was in Fort Pierce, Florida. It was
Orlando
Ocala, Orlando had it,
Yeah.
and it might have been in some other places. I know there was one in Connecticut, and maybe in New Mexico. I don't know where else did they play highlight. But it was a great sport for the Degenerate because you had to root in literally like a series of miracles many times to have any shot of cashing even a Quinella ticket. And then on top of that, you had to turn on your own team in subsequent rounds of the same game. So 1 minute you're yelling, come on, Pete, you can do it. And the next minute it's like, you scumbag, Pete. You piece of shit, stop it. And the people are looking at you like, wait a minute, you were just, you acted like you were his brother in the first round. But that's what happened. And that's kind of the discombobulating thinking that occurs when you have money on a game, especially in something as absurd as the box square bar pool that you might have been a participant in. And how is it that even though they have one in every bar, your friends can never seem to find it? Right? Like, I don't know how many calls I feel that, hey, you aware of any box pools, square pools? I want to get in. Right? And you're never going to see the money from these guys. Although with Zell, Lubie, it's pretty hard to stiff somebody, is it not?
That helps a lot. As long as you annoy someone enough, at some point they will give you money.
And no one better in it than you.
I'm great at it.
Yes. Did the Mustang send the money? Did she send the money? Tell the Mustang to send the money. I don't want to bug you, Defo, but the Mustang, did she send the money? Wake her up. It's like 4 a.m. You're calling me. Did she send the money? I don't have it. It's not in my bank. I don't mind it, man. I mean, slow pay is, as close to no pay as you can possibly get, right? Where a guy pays you like 4 years later.
Well, that's the problem is we've dealt with a lot of people where they're like, I got you.
Yeah.
It's like
known as stiffs.
Hear from them again. It's like, okay, I guess you don't have me.
All right, well, all this being said, as we, kind of unwind our way into a Degenerate Friday here on Ion Channel, which is always great to be with you guys. Anyway, where do we turn to? Who can I turn to when the football season is over?
Yeah.
And as we said, college basketball not popular in this town, and I don't know. I mean, once in a while, I'll have like some gut instinct on a game that I know nothing about, and think about sending it in, like laying 3 points with Hofstra over Lafayette or something. It's like, where did you come up with that? You're betting Drexel getting 6. You're concerned about the injury report about what is it? Harper Jr., Ron Harper Jr.
Yes,
that plays for Rutgers, pretty good player.
He's on Rutgers.
And injury right now, and Rutgers was on a roll. So now what do you do? So I'm looking at the lines. There's limited action today in college basketball, at least according to whatever's on the big board here. And I mean, normally there are like 50 games that you could possibly bet on any given college basketball day or evening. And it looks like about 20 here, just trying to make a quick summation. And, of course, you have NHL action today and only, All-Star game action coming up in the NBA. The Heat, by the way, a thrilling double overtime victory last night over the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball had a triple-double, a weird one with only 14 points. You're seeing a lot of monster triple-doubles now.
Yes.
Or especially double-doubles where, like, Joel Embiid gets 45 points and 15 rebounds and playing great ball. Now, would you go ahead and put money on Embiid to be the MVP? He's a popular player. People like Joel Embiid. He may seem like he's an aggravating presence on the court sometimes. Every now and then he looks like he's very angry out there. But seems to be a very jovial fellow. I was watching an interview with Joel Embiid the other night. He was on the Scott Van Pelt show. And, seemed to have just an overwhelmingly winning and warm personality. Joel Embiid, what do you think?
He's a fun dude. If you're not on Twitter, but on Twitter, he has a really good time. Instagram, he has a good time. And now with Harden there, and we know the Harden bump the first couple months, Harden should actually give a shit. I mean, the Sixers should be able to be a top 4 or 5 seed. He right now is a favorite, and it seems like, look, you're not going to give it to Jokic a second year in a row. So who else are you giving it to?
He's having a better year this year. Jokic.
Yes,
this much I've been able to deduce.
But he's
not
what
little NBA I've seen. Yeah, better year this year than he had last year as the MVP.
You're not giving Jokic back to. I mean,
Denver just doesn't have a huge basketball presence. I mean, unless they brought back Dan Issel. No, it's been a long time since you, even though they've had good teams, and they have Jokic, and he's an outstanding player. Weird in that he doesn't look like he's really doing anything
Uh,
special.
he can't. He moves so slow.
I mean, he rolls to the basket, and it seems like it takes an hour.
Yeah.
His shot, is not exactly textbook. I mean, you're not going to forget about Ray Allen's
No.
technique from watching Nikola Jokic. He doesn't look like he can get off the ground, so you would imagine that he would be badly manhandled by any of the big centers like a Joel Embiid type.
No, and he's not like his body's like Greg Ostertag. Like he's a big, tall dude,
Yeah,
but he's
nice
not
reference there,
at
Ostertag.
all.
Yeah,
Because Ostertag was a big dude who couldn't move really well and didn't have any cuts. It's like,
Nothing.
dude, didn't work out at all. Like there was never, not even one. Like, and that's Jokic. Like he's lost weight and he's thinned down from what he used to be, but he still has no musculature. It's
nothing. Yeah,
impressive for like a
like
guy.
he's never been in the gym other than to shoot baskets.
Weird. Like,
Much like me and maybe you. I don't know. Now you were a weightlifter of some
I
significance.
worked out, yeah.
Were you not?
But
Yeah, you were.
Yeah,
You were
I
pumping
always
iron.
worked out. But like when you look at Embiid, like some of these guys, like Dwight Howard over the years, and then you see Jokic, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like I don't know. Larry Bird didn't have a terrible
No,
physique, but
nobody wasn't.
he certainly didn't look as athletic as some of the other guys that were playing the same position at a very high level or were around. I mean, even like if you consider the big three of basketball at that time to be Michael, Magic, and Larry, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Those were the big three guys, and the other two guys looked like stud athletes. And Larry Bird looked like a guy that you might have picked up literally at a farm and said, "We need another guy to play basketball."
Yes.
But it was dynamite. Now Jokic is having a good year this year. I mean,
Great.
sensational by any standard, and having a better year statistically, I believe, and impactfully than he had last year when he won the MVP. But I agree with you, Lubie, on this one. If I was a betting man,
Yeah. If you were a betting man.
well, and the oddball X Factor, who was the favorite not that long ago, but somehow I don't know, they kind of slipped a little bit. I guess they've had injuries. The Golden State Warriors were missing a couple of guys, right? That they're getting back now, and not talking about Klay Thompson. Wiseman, the rookie, that they somehow they had one of those years. Like the who was it that the San Antonio Spurs many years ago that just happened to get lucky and have one bad year in the middle of a lot of good ones, and as a result, they ended up with Tim Duncan and the Admiral on the same team. And
Yes.
after that, it was nothing but winning for Popovich and company there
Yes.
in San Antonio. Popovich, is he going to retire this year or something? What's going on with Popovich?
The fact that he's still coaching is weird to me because he probably is still as good as ever, but
Yeah,
once you lose a linchpin like Duncan, that was never a place free agents were going. So
well, yeah, he had good teams though after that. I mean,
fine, but they haven't been able to be a force. So it's like, what is
Kawhi Leonard? I mean, they were pretty positive with Kawhi in the lineup. I mean, he really blossomed there. Also, he went from being just a tough, hard-nosed, humble guy to a guy that you looked at and thought, "Wow, he's like LeBron-esque, almost unstoppable."
Yes, but he got fed up with the Popovich way, and he left. And they really haven't. DeRozan came, and if you notice, the DeRozan we see now was not the DeRozan we saw in San Antonio. So, like, to me,
he was good there, though. I mean,
he's always a good scorer, but he's like, what he's doing right now is he's setting records. He's like Wilt. It's like, what the hell?
But he was kind of a strange cat. Didn't he also come out and talk about how he deals with like depression or something, DeMar DeRozan? So. He always did he not strike you as being not by choice obviously, but if he was dealing with a mental impairment or whatever, what would it be? Is that a disease, depression? How do you qualify that? But it's nothing that you would want to wish upon yourself. Let's face it.
No.
There are enough things to be down about without having like internal depression, and I empathize greatly with anybody because you know what? It should be easy to go out and be happy, should it not, Mike Lubitz?
Should be is the key terms. Yeah, it's not always.
It's all this other baloney that you heap upon yourself, all of this schmutz that you put in your mind. That's why liberate yourself, people. Make a bet today.
Make a bet today.
Even if you lose, consider yourself a winner, that you actually broke out of your shell there and started just sending it in. This is what everybody wants. This is what the world has come to, and this is why we're here, to encourage
Liberate yourself.
I'm going to get letters from Gamblers Anonymous here. Which, if I'm gambling today, I would prefer to remain anonymous because I don't necessarily want the Mustang to think that I'm sickened again and struck with a desperate addiction to betting horses.
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to it, though. I mean, it can be a form of relaxation, can it not, Mike Lubie Lubitz? If you're resigned to the idea that, if I'm taking 300 out here, there's a good chance I come back with 0.
You just don't put any expectations.
Is the key to get off to a good start, people? If you start hot, is that better? Closing hot is also, very vindicating and encouraging, is it not? When you close out a session of gambling and you were on a roll, maybe that's what fuels the sickness. I don't know, Libby.
Yes.
Should we do a little heart-to-heart confessional here?
Do we have enough time?
Maybe we'll bring on some people from, that are currently... Ed Kaplan, my buddy Ed Kaplan, often referenced here on his show, used to do that, even though his entire show for 364 days a year was encouraging you to bet on virtually anything that moved. And all of his conversation was directed in this direction, was obviously geared in this direction, is the way I wanted to put it. And then he would have one show a year, to kind of show the other side of this, that like if you get a little too demented, Larry the Leaper, it's not good. And it can really lead to some harmful,
Yes.
elements and components, and not just in your life, but in the people that are your loved ones and family, that they can really be impacted by. And it was very moving. And then like the next day, which was okay. I mean, you have to be able to handle it, people. That's the message.
Yes,
out
that's
there, right?
everything. Yes, that's everything in life.
Yeah. Just whatever it is, I mean, in whatever form of moderation, it would have been great last night. Mayo and I were at this thing called Meatballs and Tennis Balls
Nice.
at the Delray Beach Open. So it was a great concept. You get together with a bunch of people, and they had it nicely set up. So I ran into the Greek. He was one of the judges, and they had, I want to say, 5 restaurants competing to see who could make the best meatball.
Ooh.
And then there were ample samples. It was not one of those things where you get like, one thimble full of stuff. You could have all the meatballs you wanted. If you could have eaten 20 meatballs last night, you could have gone to the 5 different locations, had 4 from each, and they wouldn't have batted an eye. It wasn't like you were being some schnorrer or just a slob or an outright pig. But I mean, how many meatballs can you eat, before you just say, and these were reasonable size. I mean, it wasn't like the little tiny ones that you get if you go to the Publix, and they have like Italian meatballs or something, and they're the size of cat's eye marbles. Like that ain't a meatball. It's like a Goobers, with hamburger meat. No, I mean, like little small meatballs. I guess they're okay, but these were reasonable sized meatballs. And I was ready to pass out after 2 of them. I really was, Lubie. But they were delicious, I have to say. One was from Runyon's, and one was from some pizza place that's there on Atlantic Avenue in Delray Beach. And they were both outstanding. And then Mayo had on the show, one of the chefs that owns a couple of restaurants there was involved. And she made an Asian chicken meatball.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, which was also very good. But I would have to say, if I'm at a meatball eating competition,
Yeah.
do I really want the chicken meatball? No.
No.
So I put the chicken meatball in last, even though it was delicious. I mean, I would go to the restaurant that she owns and order it anytime.
But it wasn't a meatball.
Put up against, the Runyon's had the thing with pesto on it and a regatta, and it was just delicious. Amazing.
Nice.
And this pizza shop, man, wow, I have to say. Even Mayo gave it a thumbs up. And you know what a discriminating, harsh critic he is when it comes to food. I wonder what was the over that we'll have him on the show later. What's the over under a number of meatballs? Now Mayo had to at least take a bite of all of the ones that were offered up for the competition.
That's 5, right? 5. Each place had 1, so that's 5.
I'm thinking the Greek fudged his judgment on this because I didn't see him eating anything. The Greek,
Yeah, the Greek's not like a huge eater.
yeah.
So that's why I don't see the Greek doing him being a judge is interesting because he eat a little bit here and there, but he's not like a guy that like pounds. Like
No.
Mayo, I would say the over under at 15.
Mayo was juggling meatballs from
would
a
have at
couple of
least
places there. I mean, he literally had like 3 of them in the air at a time,
Yeah.
and it's
Like,
one of those things where he pops them in his mouth.
Yep, mayo at
Fantastic. All
least
right, so over under number of meatballs. Let's establish something here that the fans, the listeners, can
I would
wager
say
on because you're going to
15.
join us later on about 8:30 this morning. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. Over under number of meatballs, actual meatballs Mayo consumed last night in Delray Beach.
Do you want to do 10 because that's 2 at each place?
Oh, wow, that's too many. No
Were
one
they,
can eat
they
10
were
meatballs.
massive. They were like big. They were like big meatballs.
Reasonably sized. It wasn't like Cafe Monterano or some place where the meatball is the size of a bowling ball, which I like that too. But they were really excellent all the way around from
And
the
that was all there
size,
was to eat.
texture, flavor. The two meatballs I had that were actual meatballs were fantastic. I would eat them again and again if I had the opportunity. So I'm thinking
Well, if you said it at 6, I'd go way over. That's my
seven and a hook.
Okay, I'm trying to think of a number that
Seven and a hook. Mayo.
make you
Number
go,
of meatballs eaten last night. That's a lot. You know.
no. If that's
Maybe
all there
not
is,
for a carnivore horror like you.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that's
Yeah.
all there is to eat, I wouldn't eat 15, but I'd eat like 6 to 8. If that's all there's to eat. Now, if there's bread and pasta, that's a different.
No, this was it. It was just straight up meatballs.
Yeah, I would eat I mean, especially if that's dinner, quote
Yeah.
unquote. Like,
I didn't eat before I went there. I figured I was going to down a couple of meatballs, and then ended up watching. And this is interesting. Getting back into the sports scene because nice combination. These guys have done a couple of things. It's called a Red Meat Lovers Club. Very interesting organization, and the contributions and all of the profits were going to help this place called the Big Dog Rescue Ranch.
nice.
Lubie, I have two rescue dogs. I love them both, Holly and Skippy. Skippy had his mental issues, and still, does some strange things from whatever abuse he had suffered, which is hard to imagine, right? Abusing an
Yes.
animal.
Sucks.
Oh my God! I mean, your heart breaks even thinking about it. And so I have two rescue dogs, or I would have come home with a dog last night.
I know that's my scary.
I literally, they had the most adorable dogs that were up for adoption, and you're thinking, how do these dogs not have a home?
Yeah,
How is it possible?
we got our kitten a month and a half ago from this rescue, and it's mostly kittens. Once in a while, or cats. Once in a while, they'll get a dog.
Yeah.
It's Market area, and Shirley, like a jerk off, has followed them on Instagram. So every day she gets to, and they take in anything. Like if someone brings a cat, they're taking it in. So every day there's a new. I'm like, we have one. I have to literally, before she tells me the story, because now I've fallen prey because we love Cecilia. Where I'm like, oh my God, like she's enough. Like we'd have.
Oh yeah, no, you could easily. There was a dog. It was so adorable, and I literally wanted to take it right out of the arms of the woman who was holding the dog and adopt it right there on the spot. And I had to kind of catch myself because we already had to. This is kind of weird for the homeowners association. When we moved, you're only allowed to have one dog or cat. I think you can have a dog and a cat, but you're only allowed to have one dog.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Now, we had two dogs, so I mean, we're not going to blow a real estate deal, and a chance to find almost a perfect situation, from a living and a lifestyle standpoint here for us where we're at right now, and and we're not going to blow it over the dog. So we had to actually go and get a psychiatrist to say that we needed the second dog for emotional support.
Oh, wow. So one of them's an emotional.
So we knew this wacko shrink that this guy needs treatment himself. I don't want to mention any names here, but
don't do that.
Doc, you know who you are.
No, you are.
Like nobody would go to this guy for any kind of consultation. I mean, unless you were, getting some kind of electric shock treatment, that would be the only reason to see this guy. All right. So, and he writes us a very heartfelt letter talking about how we desperately needed Holly for emotional support. Otherwise, I was going to be a complete physical and mental wreck, fall apart at the seams, and be incapacitated to the point where I couldn't work anymore or even find myself capable of leaving the house.
Interesting.
And so, we got the approval.
I hope after all that.
No, but even in that, I mean, the government has to whack you for something, right? So they charge us $75 to make these dogs. I guess, are they service dogs at that point?
No, emotional. It's service, but emotional support animals. If it's that, for sure, that's what they call it. You can take it on a plane, which I think is the weirdest fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm not inclined to do that.
I think that's a lot.
Not with Skippy. No. I mean,
it's significant.
they're renovating the two townhouses on both sides of me. All right.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know if you heard that jackhammer that they were taking to the wall yesterday.
Yep.
But nonetheless, yeah, and noise really bothers this dog like you can't believe. Plus, he hates people,
Yes.
so it's an
Just-
ugly combination when you're
he
trying
likes
to
you
board a plane.
guys. Oh, on the
All
plane.
those ankles while everybody's backed up there in the little thing, whatever that corridor is that they call it, as you're entering the plane from the airport gate. Skippy would have blood drawn on virtually everybody. All right, we're going to take a short and brief respite here on the program, but some very important commercial messages, including this one from Hialeah Park, which I'm thinking about going punching today. Now, obviously, you're probably going to go to a place that's located close
Yeah.
to your home. I mean, it's the old Grand Funk Railroad thing. I'm getting closer to my home. But if you're inclined to travel a little bit from wherever you are, or you're in the area there at Hialeah Park and you're in the southwest kind of section of town there, this would be the place to go, without question. Now, it's worth a trip from any destination to see the dazzling casino, and always very, very refreshing and invigorating for me to just walk. I mean, once I drive into that clubhouse entrance with the tree-lined road there, and it's just so elegant, and it's throwback to the time there, as I always say. It's kind of like a scene out of The Great Gatsby, right?
Yes.
Where the people are dressed, very nicely, high end for the times, and everybody looks smart, and everybody is having a good time, and there's a vibe there. That's kind of what I feel when I drive in the clubhouse entrance there, and then once I get into place, I absolutely love it. I love being at Hialeah Park. It's fantastic. The casino's great. Poker room's great. They really have it set up so if you're a sports fan, especially, and I'm going to try and cross one off the bucket list this year, Lubie, because I'm on borrowed time. You think that?
I hope not.
Well, we're going to put it borrowed time, my friend. Borrowed time.
Started in my mind.
Yeah, borrowed time. And I want to go to Vegas for the NCAA tournament. The first weekend, is supposed to be spectacular out there. Almost every sports fan I've ever talked to, and you bring this up, and they go, "Oh yeah, man, you got to go to Vegas for that first weekend," and it's like Thursday through Sunday.
Yep.
So I don't know. Is it a bad sign that our casino host, the one that we actually have to deal with, has yet to return our call from like 2 days ago?
Well, that's not good. As a casino host, they want to get you in. They're usually quick, from what I've learned from you.
They love the Mustang. Yeah, no, they do. They love the Mustang. She's a slot player. Their favorite thing.
They
just lure them right in. The other reps, that are casino hosts, they brought in like giant whales from Japan. Guys are going to be betting millions on baccarat. And all of a sudden, the employee of the week goes to the casino host who brought in the Mustang to play slot machines. Should give me a couple of nights at Bally's at least on a comp, no? I don't care. You don't have to comp any meals. Just give us a place to stay. You want to charge for Saturday night? No sweat. No, I mean, they're very accommodating. I mean, that's a great thing about being a degenerate right now. But and I would imagine one day, I don't know if there are plans for this. We'll have to ask Frank if there even sort of just thoughts of putting a hotel there on the ground. So what do you think?
Cool. Yeah, that place is meant to just be there. You could be there for a couple of days, man. That place, especially if the state of Florida stops screwing around. Like, if they have a sports book, are you kidding me? Don't even be fair.
Build a parking garage on one side to, accommodate for the fact that you would have to put this hotel where one of the parking lots was, which are massive because this was, of course, a very active racetrack with like 40, 50,000 people coming out there. Man, those big stakes days. My buddy Mike had a picture of us. We were like immersed in a packed crowd by the rail for like the Flamingo Stakes one year. And it was so weird because it was such an old school sports scene. You know how you see like an old boxing match and all the guys there, they're crowded in there and all the guys have a hat on, a fedora, and a suit.
A whole suit, yep.
And it's always a dark suit, right? Everybody's wearing the same color suit. They're all wearing like a dark blue or a black suit.
Yep.
The white shirt and a black or dark blue tie. And they all looked exactly the same. Same hat, too, right? They all look like Burt Sugar.
Yes, it's true.
But I mean, it's cool because they're all packed in there, right?
Yep,
They're not
yep.
scattered all over the place. Say, hey, Mo, you having a good time? None of that, right? Packed in there. Everybody's intent on what's going on in the ring in that case, or at the racetrack. It was absolutely fantastic. So always jogs a memory bank. And then, of course, you have all kinds of modern stuff happening there. The casino, great. Poker room, champion simulcasting room, the place to punch if you're looking for just a great combinations at Hialeah Park. Just fantastic what they've done there. You're going to love it. Make your plans to be there. Open till 5 a.m. tonight and tomorrow night on the weekends. And then, of course, 3 a.m. on a weeknight. So 2 nights a week coming up here of just blowing out all night and all day long at beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, we're coming back with more. The professor's going to join us, and he's going to reprise his big board.
Yes, yes.
And he's invested in this show at this point now.
Cameras and microphones and attachments for the TV. No, I give him credit when he goes all in. He's in.
That's Jack Namer's type of guy, right? Says, hey, you know what? This could be better. So let's go ahead and spend a few bucks and dress this up. So I can't wait to see this segment coming up with the professor. That's right around the corner.
Yes.
And the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, is going to join us. Mark Lawrence, for you Mark Lawrence fans out there, playbooksports.com, says he is going to rejoin the program around the tournament time, which is March 17th. It begins Thursday, March 17th. So that's not that far off. About 3 weeks of a hiatus here for Mark Lawrence while he gets his football preview guide together. And I like the fact that the boss man is involved in the publication. No? And it's not like he just goes ahead and delegates everything to other people. He's got a great staff there, man. And these guys are dedicated numerologists, as evidenced by Mark's appearances here on the show. Well, you know what? That's the 8th time they've been in a situation on a Tuesday night following a full moon on a Sunday. Why does Mark Lawrence all of a sudden sound a little bit like Kurt Gowdy doing a book? All right. Great to be with you. A Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the great people at Gulfstream Park. Of course, we're big fans of both Gulfstream and Hialeah Park. And, looking forward to this 3-year-old season, which you can punch in at both places. We will come back with more here on Ion Channel, the Defo Show, Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz. What do I do tonight with this college basketball schedule, Lubie? And if I go out there for the March Madness, I'm going to have to bet some games.
The professor's going to give games.
I'm counting on the professor to have some insight into this because I really haven't watched enough college. I haven't watched enough pro basketball to have any more than the same sort of generalities to offer up that you could find anywhere. Do you find that to be true, Lubie?
I only watch highlights. I haven't really gotten into basketball at all. It's usually the All-Star break, and then after that is what gets me going. College basketball, it's the conference tournaments now are what get me into it. The professor, thank goodness, watches it year round. So he's going to come on today, give some plays. And I presume he's your guy when it comes to at least.
I would trust his opinion on college basketball. I mean, no one's 100%, but at least I know he's researched these games and watched, enough of this action this year to have some kind of a clue. I can't say that I have on the college level. I guess on the pros, I'm rooting subliminally, and openly, I guess you could say, Lubie, for the Phoenix Suns to win it all this year. So that one of our earlier opinions, which of course you were adamantly opposed to, that Devin Booker was a steal in that draft. Now, I would love to see Devin Booker lead the Phoenix Suns to a championship. I'm not sure that I believe, if we were going to go back to our Tony Segreto Do You Believe segment, I'm not sure I believe that Phoenix is going to win it. They were there last year with every opportunity. They were up 2-0 on the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Bucks weren't playing particularly well in those two games. And you thought, wow, I mean, Phoenix has this in the bag. And I remember my friend Piscataway Ray telling me, this ain't over yet, Defo. Right. In fact, he was inclined, and this takes real balls. I mean, and if you're going to be an adept bettor and really an accomplished gambler where you feel confident in your ability to win, that's when you would have taken the Milwaukee Bucks when they were down 2-0 in that series, and everybody said they're dead meat. That's it. Phoenix is going to win a championship. Holy Alvin Adams. They're going to do it. I mean, the Van Arsdales. Are they alive? The Van Arsdales, Dick and Tom?
I don't know.
You still around? You don't remember those guys?
No.
Dick Van Arsdale was very popular with the Knicks. Did Tom Van Arsdale ever play with the Knicks?
I don't know any of
Is
these.
there a Tom Van Arsdale? Yeah, I believe there is.
I don't think you're lying. I just don't know any of these things.
Dick Van Arsdale was a popular player. He was a white guy that was, again, didn't look the most athletic, although strong as an ox. He was built like Andy Tiv, who works out with weights while he's in the hospital.
Yeah, still.
Right? He's got wires in his chest while he's playing the trivia challenge yesterday. Electrodes.
Which is fucking impressive.
Is that an illegal stimulus? Is that kind of like that Russian skater? Which, by the way, did you see she just
I
fell
love
on
that
her
she can't-
ass?
I know she's 15, so I'm not supposed to root against her.
You can't, diss this, poor 15-year-old
So
woman.
the Van Arsdales are both alive and age 78. I guess they were twins. They're age 78. The Van
Dick and
Arsdales.
Tom, though?
Tom
and
is a
Dick?
person, Dick, and they're both alive at 78 years old.
I'm happy to hear that, Lubie.
There you go. See, and they're doing well. So you got plenty of time. Screw the Greeks over under.
But the Suns, I don't know why. I don't see them winning it. I think Golden State's going to be real tough in the end game. And I don't want to be like copying the thoughts of Tim Legler or anything like that. But doesn't that make sense?
The West is weird because I'm still waiting for the Lakers to wake up, and I don't think it's going to happen.
They're not waking up, man. You got AD down again for 4 more weeks.
And the Nuggets are the team that's, to me, really the most talented, well-rounded. But Jamal Murray's still having health issues. Michael Porter Jr.'s disgruntled. Like, that team, like, Jokic is great, but they're a 6 seed. Like, they're not. It's like the Jazz, again, are another team. Good, but I don't trust them. The Warriors are the one team you're waiting on them. You're waiting on Klay Thompson to be healthy, fully into the rotation and consistent every night. Wiseman, all their young guys.
There's somebody else that's been out of the lineup for him. It's not Draymond Green, is it? He's been playing.
Green's been in and out, actually. Green has been in and out. And they also
another key player in their
guys,
lineup, has been out.
Played really well, and then they have that other kid. That's the Kuminga kid who's finally starting to play ball. That was a top 10 pick this year. Like, they have a lot of talent, a lot of youth. To me, the Warriors are the best team, but the West is weird. The East, to me, seems stronger than the West this year. Like, I don't know what to do. The Suns should run away with it, having that experience now, and they play defense, can score, inside out. They have the most well-rounded team, and Monty Williams is doing a hell of a job. They're just a team. I don't know. I don't know why we don't trust them, because they now have.
Because they haven't done it. I guess, that would create a little bit more of a foundation for trust and faith if you had confidence. They blew like a big opportunity last year.
They're 2-0.
The Bucks played well coming back from that position, and they had done that throughout the playoffs. Although they greatly lucked out with injuries in that Brooklyn Nets series, where the Nets didn't have everybody available to them, and Durant still nearly beat him there with that one shot that was just over like he had a toenail over the stripe there. It was like Florence Griffith Joyner would finish first by like 2 seconds in these races because her fingernails crossed the finish line there and broke the electronic photo machine or whatever it was that they used to measure who won the race. All right, a couple of things here, and we're going to come back with the professor and a whole new innovation that he's put together here from a technical standpoint. I'm expecting him to look great. Is he going to be wearing like full professor regalia?
He's not doing Urban Corey, but he has a board. He has a better camera, so it's better quality.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he will get up.
Did he get a microphone too to go along with this thing?
Well, the microphone's been good. His microphone's been solid. It's better camera, and now he has he has a board, but I don't know if he's going to actually get up and write on the board or if he's going to from far because it's technology.
Oh, okay, because that would be kind of cool if he did like a little walk and a move, and he gets like a jib cam in there.
I don't know if he's going.
Holy eye on channel here. Are we making advancements? It's great.
Thank you.
All right, Team LeBron is a 6.5-point favorite in the NBA All-Star game.
That this weekend? The All-Star game is this weekend?
It must be because they have a line here, and the over/under is 320 and a hook. 320 and a hook. Now, this is an annual. It's an annuity every year. The over in the NBA All-Star game, is it not? 320 and a hook.
160s. So you need teams to be, or 170 to 150. Come on, are you kidding me?
320 and a hook is a number that was posted to kind of encourage action on both sides. Think about that, Louis.
They want people to go under. They want people to go over.
Right. They're figuring at that number, half the people are going to go over and half are going to go under. And, if it starts to get a little lopsided, they're going to move it one way or the other. But, okay, there's a proposition bet for you. Which way will the over-under line in the NBA All-Star game move, if it moves at all? Down or up?
Would it really go higher?
Does it go to 321?
Oh my God!
Wow.
Oh.
That sounds like a price on a Kanish with the tax. I mean,
Yeah,
come on,
exactly.
that's 7%.
I know the over's an annuity, but Jesus, like, will someone score 200? Like, is that a thing? Like, can people? I don't know.
That's wild. That's a wild number. That one actually startled me. I rarely am I, rendered into a state of confusion by a number. But that one's. I mean, what was the score last year?
Oh,
Does anybody
it's
know?
funny. I'm just going to look that up because we always joke about like, okay, it's annuity over, but
Yeah, they would put like
Two
260 up in the past, and you would
Two
think
something.
that's absurd.
it's like 320. Come on, man! Like, you're expecting 160? Like, how do you expect 160?
Well, 2 games last week in the NBA had over 90 3-pointers attempted by the two teams combined. Imagine it.
And they don't
How
play
many
any-
shots do you take in a game? 100?
Oh,
90 of them were threes.
Now we know why it's 320. The score last year,
Yes, was what?
170 to 150.
Right on the number.
So that's why that they're like, all right, we're just gonna go with last year's score. And do they go?
170.
That's nuts. That shows how little we pay attention.
This brings the term token pressure to new levels exponentially, does it not?
In your basketball games, you were dogged defenders compared to what the fuck they're doing.
Right? I mean, Jersey Kyle, I would go like this, not even raising my arm to, it's harder and harder to raise it above my head there. But, just a hand right around the eyeballs, and that's it. And you're 3 feet away from the guy.
If you're getting
And
one,
as he launches the shot, you're yelling, miss it.
yeah, exactly.
That was defense to a Jewish kid.
That's better. If you're getting 170, you're not even doing that. If you're getting 170, you're literally doing the 21 shit where you're standing under the rim waiting for the rebound.
Yeah.
170.
170, 150, and that was the number. Would have gone under then, 320 and a hook. All right, so there's our proposition bet for you sick degenerates out there that want to even have a mind bet on the Defo Show here on Ion Channel, and that is, will that over-underline in the NBA All-Star Game move up or down from the current position it's in at 320 and a hook, or are people so indifferent to the whole idea that they're going to make a bet like that they just ignore it altogether and it stays the same? What do you think? There'll be action on this.
Oh, no. They're probably going to be going over. It's probably going to go up. Because
George Stephanopoulos is telling you to bet the over now on Good Morning America. You're like, what? Where did that come from, huh? Michael, the All-Star Game always goes over, right? You're like, that's George Stephanopoulos, man. I mean, he's a news guy. By the way, over under, does Russia invade the Ukraine, Lubie? What do you think?
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's trying
Why
to
else would you have like a couple of 100,000 tanks?
he's trying to make a move.
How many tanks did they send over there? My God.
He's trying to create the USSR again.
Yeah. All right. We're going to come back. The professor going to join us here with his newfangled contraption. He's got a whole new scene going on, and his bit last week was such a hit. It was one of the funniest things I've ever been a part of, honestly, in my 40, 50 years of doing this stuff.
It was great. I was like, you know what? We're doing all this stuff. I have to keep track of this. This thing was classic.
Yeah, that was classic. Yeah. So he's gonna. I mean, it's tough to come off that. When you give a great performance like an Olivier type performance here on the show, it's tough to come back. It really is. By the way, your buddy has the show tonight, right? Kravitz Center in Palm Beach, the Lenny Bruce show.
Yes, Lenny Bruce, Ronnie Marmo. Yep.
Yeah, he was great. They were on our show here, Joe Montana.
That's sweet.
And that's tonight, Kravitz Center in West Palm Beach. You going, Lubie? You had to punk out, right?
Something popped up. It sucks. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And a one-man show. To me, it feels like a guy going insane. Like, I really would like to see one person do an entire show.
I've seen one-man shows. I would imagine, look, if you go see like a comic, right, like Lenny Bruce, they're usually doing like a 90-minute set if they're doing a live show, correct?
Yeah, I guess that's like a guy doing an act.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same thing. All right, so the degree of difficulty just went down on that, Louis. That Russian skater splattering herself all over the ice, I felt terrible for this young girl. I mean, I don't know that she deliberately was cheating the system. Who the hell knows, right?
It's not on her. We know Russia doesn't give a shit. Like,
yeah. I mean, were they infusing this woman with drugs for some reason that would increase the oxygen level to her heart at 15 years old? I mean, that sounds like some diabolical scientific experiment, doesn't it? It's crazy.
What do you mean? They take these kids in China and Russia from like birth and put them in these like sports camps where they learn sports. Their entire life is all about a sport. Duh. I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Hey, today's featured speaker is A-Rod, and tomorrow we'll have Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire both going to come in here for you Russian athletes. And they're going to teach you the virtues of steroid use. All right, we're coming back with more here on the Defo Show. A Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. We have degenerated to the point where we've lost track of time.
This is the longest.
Just having a great time here, and coming back with more in a moment. Now that I did get that word in for Hialeah. Mike Mayo later on too. We had a good time last night, although I didn't see much of Mike. But and the over under 7.5 meatballs. It's 8:04.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-875.
Rick Pitino with us here.
Boy, this is a degenerate radio show.
The morning just isn't right without Defo. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Are we going to bring in the professor here, Mike Lubie
He's
Lubitz?
gotta come in. I guess I told him 8:10, so he's being.
Oh,
very
okay.
punctual
All
today.
right, so he's putting his
So
makeup
let's see
on
Mike's
and
face right now.
clearing his throat, gurgle style. All right, welcome back to a Degenerate Friday. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubitz with you. So how many people have done that? The NCAA tournament, March 17th. It's not too soon to start planning this. I'm willing to spend a few bucks. I don't know. Are the JetBlue flights going to be excessive in terms of the rate there? Because everybody wants to schlep to Las Vegas. Do they raise the rates based on supply and demand? I would think. Professor joins us here, and he's got a whole new setup. Are you ready to roll, Professor? How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you, Dave?
Couldn't be better, and I'm very excited about this. Now, you've actually invested a little bit in this program now.
Very excited
after last
about
week's
what?
performance. Yes.
He thinks you're gonna do a whole Erwin Corey, like stand on the board, do the telestrator.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Lubie.
Did you get the little, the cap and the gown? I mean, no, that
You can't
we
set
thought
anything
maybe.
up without Lubie ratting you out about it. Jeez, Lube. What's wrong with you? Save a little something for the show, Lubes. Don't give everything away. You gotta
That's how we work.
demonstrate that you're in the know. Come on, Lubes. What's wrong with you, dude?
Shock him.
It's a spectacular. All right,
Save
many
a little
things.
something for the audience there, Lubie. Jeez.
I mean,
Many things on the table today, Professor, and we're glad to have you with us. Oh, good. Yeah, I think that light works a little bit better. Although it looks like you're being interrogated there.
Yes.
I had that happen to me one time, and I said, I know nothing about these payments. What are you talking about? What payments?
No.
Who was that guy you were referencing? Never heard of him. Yeah, I mean, it was like any deposition that you see when the guy is just, dead to rights guilty, and you're wondering. All right, Professor. First of all, how are you? It's good to have you on the program.
I'm okay, Deef. It's the week that football ends, which is not great. And then the week of the NBA All-Star Game, which is one of those events that makes me wonder, has this event just gotten a lot worse over the last 30 years? Or was I just an idiot when I was a kid? Did I like this crap?
No, they used to try in the fourth
They
quarter.
used to
Now
try a
it's-
little bit. Fourth quarter, you'd see Magic, put a body on Larry Bird.
Was it?
every now
I
and
mean,
then.
I really don't know. I don't know. Did they actually play any defense, or was this just all garbage back in the day?
Token D through the first 3.5 quarters, and then with a few minutes to go, it was, as Magic would say, it was winning time.
Yes.
Okay, maybe. I don't know, because it's not just the game itself. I used to really enjoy the slam dunk contest.
Yes.
And now it's so bad that they literally replaced it with a fashion show one year, a few years back. They had James Harden and the boys coming out in their pink tuxedos or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the 3-point contest used to be fun, and now it's just the annual which Golden State Warrior is going to win contest. So I don't know. I maybe like if they brought the old timers back, like can 70-year-old Larry Bird still shoot? That would.
I would
that
imagine
be
so.
fun.
I would think he's lost none of his touch there. The legs might be a little bit shot, but he didn't really get that high off the ground anyway.
Right?
I remember covering the skills competitions, the 3-point shootout and the dunk the night before the All-Star game, and this was when they had the game at the Miami Arena, the old Miami Arena.
And Kenny Skywalker won.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Our man Billy Thompson was in there, and he tried his thing where he dunks the 2 basketballs,
and it was
he
awful.
missed it. Yeah, it didn't go well for Billy, who was a phenomenal dunker. And the 3-point competition was involving Larry Bird and several other, 3-point shooting superstars. So that was, very elite in terms of the roster. And that was a night that Buster Douglas, I guess this was a Saturday night.
It was.
And Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson that night. And I'll never forget, people were so stunned. This predated like instant information. And the word got out among these NBA players who, a lot of whom follow boxing and have, interest in boxing. And they were like, nah. And no one believed it, right? It was like War of the Worlds. You were expecting to wake up the next day and see the world completely demolished.
Yeah, I remember that event very specifically. My buddy had tickets, but we skipped it to
go to the dog track.
No, yeah, well, that too, but to go and have a party and watch the fight. And the reason we did was because it was the first year in a while that it wasn't going to be Dominique and Jordan in the dunk contest.
Yeah,
both of them were out, and I think it was the year before they had sort of like the big final showdown in Chicago, where the judges just completely ripped off Dominique Wilkins because Jordan did like 5 kind of average dunks and then the free throw one at the end. So on the last dunk, they gave Dominique like a 42 and then set Jordan up to the free throw line dunk so he could win. And, and yet another Chicago ballot box stuffing. Completely hosed Dominique.
He was doing Shaun White type of moves as if he was in the half pipe there, doing, now look at that, a 1460, my God, it's a mind blower. And he tumbles out of that and lands on his feet. He was doing spectacular circus type stuff. And, sure enough, you're right, though. I mean, how great was it? I don't know if you're a young man, but Dr. J being in those dunk contests with Michael Jordan.
That was a little before. I'm a little younger than that. Come on now.
Yeah.
I don't date back to Artist Gilmore and Dr. J in the ABA dunk contest. I mean, come on, Beef.
The dunk was great, man.
It's one of those events. The dunk contest is really the perfect example. Was the dunk contest like a lot better 30 years ago?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Or am I just old and crabby? It's probably some of both, if we're being honest. But,
the best part of the dunk contest is the overreaction of like Isaiah Thomas.
You know what I think?
And the other guys that are judging.
You know what I genuinely think can save it is when I go back and think about it, the best one for me, despite the fact that they probably weren't the greatest dunks, but they were really good, was Spud Webb at 5'7".
Oh,
so
Webb was
maybe
great.
that's what they should do is just the short guy dunk contest.
That was fantastic.
5'10" and under dunk contest, and then it would be fun again.
Pygmy dunking with the NBA, exactly. And Adam Silver presents the trophy, and he towers over these guys because essentially they, I don't want to say, but he might have borrowed them from like Barnum and Bailey. I mean, or wrestling, crazy stuff, right? But no, and who was the other guy? It was there was another guy that was like 5'4", that was a phenomenal point guard.
Oh, Nate Robinson.
No,
Nate Robinson.
Wasn't Nate
Robinson's
Robinson?
not 5'4". The guy, the shortest one who was playing in the league at the time was a guy named Muggsy Bogues at 5'3".
Muggsy Bogues, yeah.
But he could
was
just
he not
barely
also a
dunk.
dunk?
He was not.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't a dunker.
He wasn't a dunker? Okay.
No,
'Cause
Bogues is
I thought I wanted to say that, wow, it was always incredible to a guy like me that can't get off the ground. I mean, you couldn't slide a piece of paper beneath my highest vertical leap. That this guy could dunk. It was mind-boggling.
Actually, my favorite kind of freaky one is, I don't even know if you remember, but every year they used to throw Tom Chambers into the dunk contest.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the thing. Tom Chambers is actually a pretty good dunker, but everybody acted amazed that a 6'10" white guy could actually dunk a little bit. Like he's 6'10". It was like me dunking on the Nerf hoop hanging above my door.
Exactly. Yeah,
of course he could throw down. He's 6'10".
Playing one-on-one with one of your dachshunds. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you inclined to put any kind of wagers on the NBA All-Star game? The over used to be an annuity. 320 and a hook. We have a prop bet out there, Professor. I don't know if you caught the early portion of the show, but 320 and a hook is the over-underline on the NBA All-Star game. It used to be a cinch that it was going to go over every year. And now the number is so enormous that you're thinking that has to at least divide the action in half. But will the line go up or down, in your opinion?
I assume it'll go down because do you know anybody? I mean, excuse me. I assume it'll go up because do you know anybody who bets the over? I mean, bets the under in this thing?
Bet the under in the All-Star game. You really have to feel like a fool, don't you?
Right? It's like betting.
You're screaming from the opening whistle, play some D.
Yeah, exactly. You're rooting for D.
Talk about futile. Yelling at a television set, play some D.
Come
on. What
bro.
gambling does to you.
Can you imagine being the guy like at the bar watching the All-Star game or at someone's house for a party? First of all, throwing a party for the All-Star game, how terrible is your life?
Oh, no. You could never get anybody to come unless the food was just out of this world.
Can you imagine screaming at the television at James Harden to D up a little bit?
Come on, Jimmy.
Come on, Butler. What was that?
I don't get that. So no, I'm not seeing that. I think it's like the Pro Bowl. No matter what the number is, you set it over. Yeah. And honestly, they could probably set it at 400, and I'm not saying it would go over, but they'd make a run at it somehow. You get like, LeBron's now hit 7 3-pointers in a row, and East 186, West 182.
I would have to say my interest, which used to be very intense about the NBA All-Star game, you didn't want to miss a second of it.
Again, I was the same
long
way.
Since, dissipated.
I don't know what's happened to the event. I think, honestly, it's when the dunk contest started to fall apart. When, again, Dwight Howard, everybody, ooh, he could touch the top of the backboard. Yeah, he's 7 feet tall. And look at him. He should be able to jump. 7 foot
Professor,
guy built like Schwarzenegger, and you're shocked he can jump. Yes. And then the year they gave Nate Robinson like 14 chances to complete one dunk, there's like, well, we're going to give you a minute and a half to do one dunk.
Monty Tao was a viable candidate. All right, Mike Lubitz, we have the professor here. Lubie also, he I don't know that he completely ratted you out because I don't know that he knew what the content of this segment is going to be. But you're going to come up with another one of your Professor Big Board operations here on the show. Is this correct?
Well, we were going to introduce a new segment that Lubie has now destroyed and got. But I got it. Yeah. The Lubie showrunner, that's how it works? Okay.
No, I have to tell Defo what we're doing.
You don't have to tell him. You could have saved it as a surprise, and then he would have been
my thought on Lubie.
The audience. It's if theater we were doing of the mind, Lubie, and you're wrecking it.
If we were doing something that we thought the station, when we were doing a radio show, might not feel very comfortable with, I always felt like that they would call Lubie into the office, and before they even said, would you like to have a seat, Mr. Lubitz, he would be going, it was Defo! Defo! His idea! You're like, he's the last guy that you want, trying to conceal that you might have some complicity in whatever criminal activity was taking place.
Well, Defo, here's the thing. All week long, I have been hearing about how this is one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time, and it falls into a category we have talked about before, that just because a game is close does not mean it was a good game. And in fact, in a great many ways, this was a crappy Super Bowl. Both teams were very sloppy. If either team had played decent football, they'd win. So we're going to go to the big board, Defo.
Oh, you're going to do it right now?
I was
Okay.
supposed to lie to you. I didn't know I was supposed to.
We're
lie
going to the
Oh,
big board.
my God! Look at this thing.
Super Bowl suck.
And we're
Big
going to
board
tell
of
you
Super Bowl suck. All
why
right.
this Super Bowl sucks, Defo.
Okay.
Let's get rid
All
of
right,
that thing
people.
in the
This is
corner
special
real quick.
treat. I mean, do you want to do it now? You want to take a little brief
We
rest?
can take a break. Yeah, we go.
We
you
want
wanna
to get on a
preview
word for
this?
some
Okay.
sponsors.
Okay.
This should be sponsored. I mean, this absolutely.
good.
Jack, get on it, man. Get your people on the
Let's-
phone. Big board of Super Bowl suck is this week's professorial, if you will, here on Ion Channel. A very unique application here of some props. It's going to be great, and the fact that he was able to turn the camera around
Yes. that's
while
smart.
operating by himself, unless the dog was helping him do that would have been great. Always bet the dog. All right, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. We'll be down there soon. I know we keep saying it. Did you see Tony Segretto's just been busting our chops about this? Like,
Yes.
when are you getting down to the Big Chill? Listen, Tony, we can't wait, my friend. And it's a fantastic place to be. The professor was down there with us. He had a blast.
Yep.
It was just phenomenal. And the professor has a very discriminating palate. He could easily be a part of that Gambling Gourmet segment.
Yes.
With the food critic extraordinaire and a judge at last night's contest. I think he was the Malvina Lathan of the no. Mayo knows his food. I think the right place won also. He told me who won that thing. But anyway, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. We were all down there. We couldn't have had a better time. The food is
Blast.
great. The atmosphere is sensational. It couldn't be any more relaxing, could it, Lubie? My God. It was like the old days. It almost felt like just a natural quaalude to be down there. It was absolutely phenomenal. And you couldn't have felt any more relaxed, right? Can I have some more of that Valium, please? Feeling pretty good about things. That's the way you feel as soon as you get out of that dump of a city, Florida City, boom. You're right there, mile marker 104, the overseas highway, great accommodations, tremendous dining of all types. I mean, it's not just like, typical, sports bar type of stuff. They do have a great remodeled sports bar, but, some fine, elegant stuff too, like the finest prepared seafood that you're going to get anywhere in the Keys. And it's just great. They really pay a lot of attention to detail there and taking care of the clientele, whether you're just stopping by and have a drink by the pool or at the tiki bar, or if you're staying for the weekend with another couple or whatever, and you're taking advantage of the brilliant and just exquisite accommodations they have at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104. That's the overseas highway in Key Largo, Florida. If you're watching from anywhere, any destination outside of the city and the state here, believe me, this would be the first place to look into if you were looking to have a Keys vacation. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104, the overseas highway in Key Largo. All right, the big board of Super Bowl suck. I can't wait to see this.
I'm so stoked.
I'm actually, this is great because, sometimes you're looking at the clock, you're performing, let's be honest, people, and you're going, oh, shit, another errorness. But no, I never feel that way.
I don't think I ever do that.
No, it's always good.
Well,
But this, I'm absolutely looking forward to. The Super Bowl, of the big board of Super Bowl suck. The professor coming up in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:22. If poker is your game, you're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't get your question.
You were a coach that you coached all kinds of teams. You had teams that...
Hey, say it in English. Dad, you got it?
Start your day with a cup of Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
English. Degenerate.
Start your day.
Louie's big moment there, unforgettable, when he finally gets his idol, Bobby Bowden, to come on a radio show we were doing a long time ago at Landlubbers, by the way. And Lubie was relatively new to this whole thing, and he had a tendency to speak very quickly. And Bowden being, I think, was 104 at the time, and he had no idea what Lubie was saying. And so here's Lubie, before he even spits out his first question. And Bobby Bowden is saying, "Hey, how about some English?" And then he follows it up with, is this anywhere in the dictionary? Dadgummit.
That was the best.
Which, has various interpretations. The professor with us, we're ready to go. That was great. That camera spin and everything. The professor with the professor's big board of Super Bowl suck. Professor, it's all yours, my friend.
All right, Dave. So, again, people have been hyping this particular Super Bowl as one of the great Super Bowls of all time. And it's a tendency. People, anytime the game is close, want to tell you how great a game was. And this game was a close game, but it was not a great game. And we're going to show you why, Defo, with going to the big board. And as you have said, this week the big board is the big board of Super Bowl suck. And we're going to start you with number 5, the last play of the game.
All right.
Hard to see a little bit down here, but this isn't there's no joke here. This is just how much the gambling gods like to kick you in the balls, particularly if you had Cincinnati here. So if you see that circle in the bottom left-hand corner, this is a game footage. It's the coach cam of the last play of the game. And you see Jamar Chase running all by himself 7 yards away from Jalen Ramsey, who has fallen down on the last play. So if you remember, one of our favorite props of the game, on top of taking Cincinnati on the money line, was Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp, a combined 199.5 yards. Defo, we were literally 80 yards down going into the last drive, and Cooper Kupp caught so many passes on the last drive that he got us close. All Joe Burrow had to do was look up there. So again, even when things go well, if Joe Burrow is just paying attention, Cincinnati Bengals win the game. The prop goes over. Jamar Chase catches the winning touchdown. And on top of everything else, Jalen Ramsey's the jerk off of the game for falling down on the last play, which honestly, I got to say, Jalen, I'm not saying Jalen Ramsey's not a great quarterback. And I already can see the angry look on Lubie's face because I'm insulting a Florida State player. But nobody wants to hear from you, Jalen Ramsey. You're like the 5th best Ram. As great a quarterback as you are, nobody wants to care about you, and you ran your mouth all game and then got burned by T. Higgins, who hasn't been good since his last game at Clemson. So, again, if Joe Burrow's just paying attention, there's your game right there. That's how much the gambling gods like to get you, even when things are going well.
Are you overlooking the fact that I think that Joe Burrow was looking up at the lights because he was in the grasp of Aaron Donald at the time?
Unfortunately, he's not looking downfield, obviously, because as we see, Jalen Ramsey has.
Oh, there it is, right
Jamar
there.
Chase is by himself.
That shows you, though. Great illustration of the heartbreak of a degenerate. Where here is a guy literally with the defensive back on the ground, so any looping piece of shit pass would have been a completion there. And unfortunately, Burrow was so busy, running for his life that I guess he missed that one. But, you couldn't have dreamt up a more ideal situation. All right, that's number 5 on the big board of Super Bowl suck. The professor.
And speaking of pieces of human garbage, Defo, that takes us to number 4. Nobody loved the Super Bowl ads, but there was a notable low point in this one, and it is, of course, brought to us by Guy Fieri. In the words of the great Anthony Bourdain, aren't you over 50 years old now? At what point are you going to de-douche? Like, at some point, it's just not cool to be a guy who has spiked blonde hair wandering around, and in this case, advertising a Bud Light product, which is cherry-flavored malt liquor. Now, again, I'm not trying to take away anybody's freedoms. I'm all for do what you like. This is America. But at some point as a society, don't we need to stop celebrating this? Don't we need to stop encouraging this kind of behavior for grown adult males to be drinking watermelon-flavored malt liquor? Like, isn't that enough? This whole seltzer trend is kind of aggravating enough. It doesn't say anything good about us as a society.
No.
I kind of think it's time for America to say no to Guy Fieri and his fruit-flavored malt liquor. And probably for Bud Light in general. Because, look, I understand if you're a Bud Light drinker, you're desperate for anything that doesn't taste like the water that was mopped off the floor at a fast food restaurant. But I don't know that this seltzer thing's actually an improvement. At some point, Defo, we're going to lose a war because adult American males act like this. And I'm not saying, again, it should be made illegal, but 100% we should stop encouraging this kind of behavior.
I just got a check. A text, not a check. We'll never see one of those from Jack Namer. Not because of him, but he had the Bud Light people watching today.
Okay, well,
For a potential sponsorship, they were enjoying the increasing numbers, and to complain, dishwater wouldn't have been bad enough. It had to be the water you mopped off a fast food restaurant floor.
exactly.
All right, that's number 4 on the
Speaking
professor's
of
big board of Super
disgusting
Bowl
things
suck.
they
Yes.
wanted to advertise, Lubie and I were talking about this one before the Super Bowl. But what the hell, McDonald's? Who the hell is looking at a Big Mac and thinking, I need to stuff chicken and a fillet of fish in there, too? Who on earth thinks of this?
Is that really what they did?
Yes, this is
That's
the
the
new
thing.
McDonald's secret menu that they advertised, the land, air, and sea combination, which is a combination of a Big Mac that they take and stuff a chicken patty in and a fillet of fish patty in. Like,
Beyond disgusting. Wow.
all of
That's
those items are
tripling the
disgusting to
disgust
start
portion.
with. But the nice thing is, Defo, and this is number 3A, the Super Bowl gave us an answer of who it was looking for a McDonald's with a chicken patty and a fillet of fish stuffed in. There's actually a customer base for this, and shockingly, it's 50 Cent. Go shorty, it's your birthday. Go shorty, it's your birthday. Who knew 20 years ago when he came out with that? It was because 50 Cent was looking for cake. We could find you in the club probably full of Bud. No, 50 Cent. Apparently we could find you in a club full of carbs. What the hell happened, Fitty? And let's be honest, the only club we can find you in these days comes with 3 pieces of toast, bacon, and looking at you, a double or triple helping of mayonnaise. The hell kind of device did they have to keep him upside down? I know they didn't hook that to the scoreboard because they were afraid it would collapse the damn thing.
Well, from SoFi Stadium, an unfortunate end to the halftime show today.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that was a surprise. You're right,
Some things in our youth
Professor.
just don't hold up, and 50 Cent is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you have an addendum on the big board of Super Bowl suck to number 3 is already sensational, but, very aptly described the presence, the oddball presence of 50 Cent in this, Super Bowl halftime show, which was, unannounced, right? I mean,
Yes.
Eminem brought him in at the last minute,
Yeah.
said, I ain't going unless my guy 50 Cent is in there, and so they hung him upside down by his feet. I can't say hang him because, Roger Goodell, that'll be that. But, no, I mean, they literally, suspended him by his feet for this thing. And you're right. What held him up? All right. That's number 3 and 3A.
Yes,
With
and we
the
have a
Professor.
2 and 2A also. And I could honestly do an entire segment on this. It's not directly related to the Super Bowl, but it's a story that broke coming out of the Super Bowl. And
Yes.
that is the worst Super Bowl party imaginable in the history of the world. In case you didn't know, this is Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago result. They held a big Super Bowl party. On the right here, in case you haven't noticed, we have Bill Belichick. And on the dead in the middle, there's former Jacksonville Jaguars coach Urban Meyer.
Oh, my God.
I cannot imagine a worse Super Bowl party to go to than the one featuring Bill Belichick and Urban Meyer. It's like going to a political party and the special guests are Joseph Stalin and Paul Pot. Like,
You didn't get a Hitler reference.
I
there,
did.
right?
I was
Come
going
on,
to
there
go
was
with it, but I intentionally skipped it for you. But
we were wide open for the left hook.
This is the thing, Defo. We look at this picture, and normally I'm only going to pick on the celebrities. I'm not going to mention the normal people. But I want you to notice this doofus right here in the middle, who I have no idea. It's just some regular guy. And he shows up to the Super Bowl party, and it's at Mar-a-Lago, so he has to dress formal. We'll get to that to begin. But what does he do? He breaks out the blue blazer with the gold buttons that everybody's grandmother gave them for their 13th birthday, so you'll have something nice to wear when we go out somewhere fancy. Like, I don't know about you, Deef, but I think everybody had that stupid blue blazer with the gold buttons. And personally, I have spent my entire rest of my adult life avoiding wearing the blue blazer with the gold buttons because
it was standard fare on TV.
Good in it. Yeah. What was your other option? A sailor suit with a giant lollipop?
Or dressing like you came off a cereal box like Michael Jackson did when he was on trial for these various sexual assaults that he committed.
And let's take it to 2A, Defo, for the worst Super Bowl party in history. Let's just break it down here. Number one, who the hell wants to go to a Super Bowl party where you have to wear a jacket and tie?
That's true, yeah.
Everyone wants to feel like, you know what I want for a Super Bowl event? A nice formal party. Secondly, why the hell is there a New York Giants helmet in the middle of the table? Does Trump's people have to make him think the Giants are in it to watch it? Like, and on top of it, I can't swear to it, but I think that's an ESPN football phone next to it. It's a football with ESPN written on it. I don't think ESPN has ever actually made a football, so I'm pretty sure that's an ESPN football phone. And lastly, look at you have to sit in these uncomfortable dining room chairs. Who the hell wants to go to a Super Bowl party that doesn't have a couch or a recliner to sit in? You got to sit at a formal table with dining room chairs, uncomfortable, not a big TV to be seen in the place. And what has he got? He's got those boxes of popcorn that they sell you at Costco for like $500 of them for $10 to make you think you're at a movie theater when you're not even in a real movie theater. So we're going to give you like that half a movie theater boxes of popcorn. And
unbelievable.
I could go on about this party of all time, and I'm not trying to get political here, but this is clearly the worst Super Bowl party ever, not because of the president or Donald Trump, not because of the weirdo 45 flag, which would be like me hanging a flag on my living room wall that says Ken on it when people come over. Because you have to meet Urban Meyer and Bill Belichick in formal wear to enjoy your goddamn Super Bowl. What the hell? Literally, if I sat there and said, when I'm rotting in hell, what will the Super Bowl party look like? This is exactly what it looks like.
Well, and also, not only did Donald Trump, but Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was also in attendance, they convinced everybody there that the Giants were in the Super Bowl.
You know,
Who says they're not?
I got to tell you, Defo, I was actually wondering about the crappiness of the snacks. But Sarah Huckabee Sanders being there makes perfect sense now that she got to the buffet food table first, much like Lubie would at a fancy Super Bowl party. If I go to a billionaire Super Bowl party and all they're serving me is popcorn, I'm going to start some incidents.
All right, well, that's number two. I mean, this is better than the unveiling of the top plays of the week here, where you're thinking, what could possibly top that? So, what's number one on the big board of Super Bowl suck?
I could do a whole big board just on this particular Super Bowl party. So it's going to take something very special.
Yes.
To pass this up. And you know what, Defo? I thought for once, for the first time in like 25 years, we were going to have a Super Bowl where we could escape these people. But no, Rams score a touchdown. And what does NBC do? Yep. Ben Affleck and Jennifer freaking Lopez. I couldn't go one freaking year without having to deal with one of these assholes. First of all, like Ben Affleck at a Super Bowl. Yeah, Ben Affleck seems fun. The guy almost drank himself to death because he was so nervous about playing Batman. Yeah, you're so scared of making $40 million to run around a bat that you almost killed yourself with liquor. And then Jennifer Lopez, number one, did you steal Urkel's glasses to go to the Super Bowl in? Was that supposed to look cool? And number two, Jennifer Lopez, I don't care that you're like 50 years old and you're still gorgeous. What man would want you now that you bear the taint of Ben Affleck? I imagine it's like everything else in nature when you find something poisonous that you're supposed to wear, they give off a faint scent. I would imagine that these days Jennifer Lopez smells like Axe body spray and stale Sam Adams beer. Because that's exactly the scent I pictured Ben Affleck giving off. 1 year without these Boston celebrity bandwagon jerk-offs, I was supposed to escape. Tom Brady was retired. No Belichick, no Boston associates anywhere in the Super Bowl. I was going to be happy. And no, you had to ruin it, NBC. You had to ruin it, NBC. You're killing me. Just 1 year.
Tremendous.
That's all I wanted,
Yeah.
Defo. And that, Defo, is why this year's Super Bowl sucked.
That was brilliant. I mean, I thought last week was going to be impossible to touch.
That was amazing.
But wow. I mean, Professor, you've set the barometer very high on your big board propositions here. Tremendous job. I hope you made some kind of a score there. And college basketball, of course.
Won a
very
little, but not a ton. It was not a great.
The McVeigh first time out was like my only correct application of any kind of
I honestly, I should have known it wasn't going to be great when that damn singer brought out a full choir
Choir.
Everybody you practiced with in church when you were growing up, you had to bring to the Super Bowl with you. And then you gave
Mormon
them
Tabernacle.
You gave them extra verses.
Yes.
What the hell?
Oh, and then she, the key word was home, as you pointed out in your brilliant analysis, pre-anthem analysis. And then, so I had everybody in a bar like zeroed in on this, although it looked like it was going dreadfully over. And then she starts going, and the fa la 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 la. She breaks into a little, she's a brick house. I'm like, we're fucked. All right.
Honestly.
People stopped looking at their watches, like right there. It was like, you're a loser, Deforrest. Don't, while you're at it, why don't you lose my number? Professor Brilliant, as always. We wish you all the best. I saw the Foundry. I drove by it last night. It was packed. Early on, I was on my way on my way to Delray. I wanted to ask you this, though, real quickly. I'm sure you've done this in your lifetime of being a Stone Degenerate. Vegas for the first weekend and first 4 days of the NCAA tournament. Have you been there at any time in your life? Okay, and is it? I mean, you're a big fan. And obviously, you get involved financially in these games, and the first round, I would imagine, to a gambler is absolute nirvana. It's like the Kentucky Derby to a horse player.
It's one of those things, Deef. It is absolutely a blast. It might be a little better when you're younger because there are like 3 million people going absolutely crazy. For the tournament. And so you got to get to it's like Super Bowl Sunday. You got to get to the sports books a couple 3 hours early. Which when it's a 9 a.m. tip, you got to be out there at like 6 or 7 a.m. To stake out a good seat there. It's a blast. Nonstop action, obviously, all day long. The only problem is, again, it starts at 9 a.m. So
well, that's okay.
It can be a little hectic.
Yeah. Because it takes a couple of days to adjust. So, you're like getting up at 6 Vegas time and thinking, maybe I'll go for a long walk here and, start. I love it because they're playing the anthem at like 16 different racetracks at 9 a.m. in the morning as well. So it's, like dying and going to heaven. All right, Professor, brilliant job. I can't thank you enough.
Quick picks. Tomorrow, looking at Illinois and Texas Tech, both should be getting some points on the road against opponents, in my opinion, going the wrong way in Spartan, Texas. So, look for a couple of road dogs in early action tomorrow afternoon. College basketball. I think the Illinois game's a noon tip, and the Texas Tech is a 12:30 tip. So I would be looking to center in, getting a couple points, maybe 3 in the case of Illinois on both those games. And then exciting news, Defo, because I just got the announcement. March 1st, we have the kickoff of Aussie Rules football. So looking forward for that.
Yeah. I mean, you've been killing it on the, a game that is so bizarre that, even ESPN stopped. Well, they didn't need to televise it anymore because they got like the NFL. So that helped them pick up the pace. All right, Professor, great job. Thanks so much for being with us here on the Defo Show.
You have a good one, Def.
All right. The professor has stepped up his game immensely. I mean, just incredible. And it was interesting that he mentioned 2, evil dictators and didn't get to Adolf Hitler in the program today. So we commend him on trying to clean it up at least a little bit here. But you couldn't have hit it any more in the head. How is he going to top that Trump party? And then he comes up with Ben Affleck and J-Lo.
That's great.
All right, the Gambling Gourmet. We had a great time last night. The Gambling Gourmet turned me on to a terrific event. I'm a fan of the Delray tennis tournament. I've gone there, I would say, maybe every 2-3 years. I make an appearance there because I really enjoy watching. If I see 2 guys that can really hit the ball at the park, right? Sometimes just stop and watch in admiration and go, my God, look at these guys. They're great. And then you see the pros doing it from close up. Thanks to my good friend Carl Foster, connected me up when I schnorred for the tickets. He hooked me up right. Mike Lubitz. We had a great view. And I don't think there's really not a bad seat in that house. I mean, even if you're at the top row, general admission, you're still okay because it's a small, intimate stadium. And City of Del Rey, really put on a great event. We were there for the meatballs and tennis balls put on by the Red Meat Lovers Club. And that was terrific. And Mike Mayo has all the information. The over-under on number of meatballs consumed by Mayo.
On hook.
See, but Mayo cheats in the sense that his palate is so sensitive, to what's good and what's not, and he can immediately identify the ingredients that he'll relegate himself to just taking a bite of each one.
That's the thing. He does the bite thing.
A bite and then right in the trash.
Yeah. So I don't know how he gauged the bites.
He's not even discreet about it either. Right in front of the people that made it, right in the trash.
Yeah.
No, he's very discreet about it. Yeah, I mean, he drops it down there. You want to be a dog following Mayo around when he's drinking a food contest. Skippy would have loved him. They did have a lot of dogs there. This big dog, what is it? Big Dog Ranch Rescue? Tremendous, Loxahatchee, Florida. Wow, and it's like a great organization. You know what? I was moved. Like there's only one commercial that ever had me absolutely go out and buy the product. This was a long time ago, Lubie, where they had like some sad dog, and I ended up buying like a flea collar for my dog or something. I don't know what it was. It was like Hearts. Remember when Hearts was making all kinds of pet stuff? Doing business.
Yeah, I think so.
I forget what it was exactly, but whatever it was, I thought my dog absolutely needed one, and the commercial moved me because the dog looked so sad. I nearly came home with an extra dog last night, Mike Lubitz.
That's what those things are scary. Every time we go somewhere like that, Shirley's ready to. I'm like, no, we're good. That's a lot.
But I was moved. Actually, me, unlikely to spring at like the auction or anything at any of these charity events. Outside of when, I ended up paying $400 for a Jimmy Johnson signed football helmet, which I need him to re-sign, by the way, because I have the helmet, but the signature is fading. It was like made with like some kind of, magic marker type of thing, right? And it's kind of fading. So when we go down there, I'll have him re-sign this thing. But no, the Big Dog Rescue Ranch, phenomenal organization. So I actually went to my pocket and dropped a few bucks in a kitty there. No pun intended. Great place. And we had a good time. Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, coming up next year on the Defo Show. Degenerate Friday. Very entertaining. The Professor, once again, archive everything, the Defo Show. Just Google that, and you can catch last week's performance, which was brilliant, on the over proposition in the national anthem bet. And then this Super Bowl review, I think it was the best that we've had on the show so far.
Yeah, that's great.
Including all of the in-depth analysis we've had and different things. Tremendous job there. All right, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, coming up next year on the Defo Show on ION Channel. And we'll be back with that in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:47.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. You're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. Good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business, and the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-875.
You have the week where if somebody just took a sock and filled it with nickels and just started pummeling you about
That's
the
the old
head.
chalk sock in Brooklyn. Yeah. You used to get
That's
hit
the
with
kind
on
of week
Halloween.
I mean, Sunday there was a late carryover in the late pick 5 at Fairgrounds. I just said I am going to go try to hit this thing because I had some success at that last month with a carryover at Tampa. So I put like $100 into the pick 5s at Fairgrounds, and of course, all my big tickets go up in smoke. Like the $48 ticket went out, the $36. I was down to one $8 ticket that I'm alive to, and actually get through the first 4 legs, including with a couple of prices. I have one horse in the last leg. It's an even money favorite, by far the favorite in all the pick 5s and pick 4s, but it was still coming back a dime. It was coming back $1,000.
Wow.
Of course, he hooks up in a speed duel with a 40-1 rat and spits the bit in the stretch. It gets beaten by a length by another 20-1 shot.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, the barometer has been set very high on this program. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz, and we welcome to the show, gentlemen I got to spend some time with last night, although not much, because he was busy, very popular, in high demand, and a terrific event. We've been talking about it throughout the show. Delray Beach Tennis Center last night. Well run all the way. I mean, it's kind of a first-class small tennis tournament that, I mean, it really makes you feel good. Great vibe in there the entire time. And we went to the Meatballs and Tennis Balls event staged by the Red Meat Lovers Club, a local organization here in South Florida that Mike became familiar with. And that couldn't have been any better. Mike Mayo, how are you? And did you have time to recover from last night's activities before you came on today? Microphone's not working there, Mike Mayo. You might want to hit the on button on that thing. So already off to a somewhat troubling start here with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. Yes, Michael. Do you have an on-off switch on that microphone? You're talking, but not saying anything that we can hear. All right. All right. Mike Mayo is attempting to be with us. When keep moving your lips, and eventually we're going to hear something. We do have the over-under set at, oh, no, that's right. We have to do that. But this isn't going to work unless we can hear you, Michael Mayo. Yeah. All right. It's a total bust out here so far, Mike Lubitz. Why don't we do this? Why don't we give Mike a minute to regroup here? And we'll come back, hopefully have the Gambling Gourmet with us. And we may have to extend the time now that we're on the air here. Just we will go past 9 o'clock anyway. And we'll come back and we'll try and correct the problem there with Mike Mayo's microphone on Ion Channel in a moment. Now that.
Okay. The time.
It's 8:51. If poker is your game, you're covered in style. And you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Catholic Health Services is committed to care that changes as your needs do. Our full continuum of services is designed to be there throughout your care journey. If you need assistance with daily living, post-acute care following a serious health event, or additional medical care at home, we also offer skilled nursing and palliative and hospice care. Your care needs may change, but our commitment never does. Catholic Health Services, South Florida's #1 choice for post-acute and end-of-life care. Visit CatholicHealthServices.org.
All right, we have the Gambling Gourmet with us, Mike Mayo.
Well, yeah, and you know me, when it comes to like pro football, I usually like to sometimes handicap games on which is the better food city. Where would I rather eat in? My mom, God bless her, 88 years old, and she follows some football. And we do a family pool where we make picks.
Justin, can you hear me?
On which city she would rather visit or live in.
Okay.
But college football, for me, it used to be I always thought that the quality of the football team was in inverse proportion to the amount of teeth in the crowd. So, like,
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Okay, I think we've rectified the situation with the Gambling Gourmet, Jeff Deforrest. We have Mike Lubitz. It's the Defo Show, and it's a Deal Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Had a great time, and this does come under the heading, Mike Mayo, of Tough Act to Follow, as the professor, again, with raw brilliance right here on the program, with his big board of Super Bowl suck. But how are you? We did have a money line possibility here with you with the over-under on the meatballs.
Can you guys
now? You're badly overmodulated, but I don't know what exactly you did. Did you plug it into your ear end?
It wasn't me. Okay, and I was about to give major props to the professor. Hold on, I'm going to check one more button on this thing. But
you want to lower the volume a little bit.
Volume down.
Yeah. Turn that thing down.
What?
On the bottom right, where the speaker is.
Yeah.
How about now? Is that better? All right. No, the professor.
It's actually horrendous. You're blowing everybody out of the water here. I don't know if you can lower the volume on that thing, but if you can, we can proceed here without too much difficulty. We don't want to get sued, for damaging people's hearing.
It's the professor. Not only is he stepping on my territory, he sabotaged my computer last week. And even though I uninstalled all these devices, they're still showing up. It's quite.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Well, you know what? Give me one more second. Let's see if we can do
this.
Yeah,
if you can lower the volume on that thing, I think we would have this thing worked out. It sounds like you're. Talking with a megaphone, yes, and it's unnecessary. It's one of those things that you always see this guy, and Lubie and I were great admirers of this guy. There was a guy that was on literally on a soapbox, and he would stand on a street corner somewhere near where the activity was happening as a prelude to any Super Bowl in any city, and he was professing and extolling the virtues of Jesus Christ. And, we would wonder how he could just – and everybody was walking by him, paying no attention. But he had a little megaphone there, and he was talking about how everybody was sick who was going to the Super Bowl and needed to be saved. And he wasn't even talking just to the guys that were betting on the game. So I think you fixed the problem, though, Mike Mayo. How are you? Let's try that. Let's start off with a simple question. How are you?
Now, is this better?
You made it way too low.
No, you made it way too low. You're not very good technically with this sort of thing here. Some happy medium in between blasting and as if a siren was going off and this new try and put that thing in the middle if you can, Mike Mayo.
How about now?
Louder.
Keep going up. Keep going up. Keep raising that thing. Raise the volume. Raise the volume. Raise it up. Raise it up. Raise it up. Raise it up. Keep talking though while you're doing it so you can tell. See, this is the key. You can't just go quiet and then come on with a whole new level.
How about now? Is that
still bad? I mean, keep raising it.
Perfect, and you kept futzing for some reason.
Yeah, you kept futzing. You are the worst, verklempt human being when it comes to the start of a show that I've ever seen.
Wait, that's the pot calling the kettle black there.
Now you're fine. Just leave it wherever you
are. I'm very perplexed because
that's good. Right,
this was working. Well, I'm going to shout in my microphone.
Yeah. Speaking at a projecting level also helps a lot. It really does. But now it sounds good.
No, there's something hideously wrong, and I have got to try to figure this out because last week it was working perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame the curse of Lubie because it was the professor who actually installed this whatever new sound system that was going to allow us to
a virus is
wonderful
basically what he put in there. Yeah.
And I think he's a Russian agent, obviously, and it's basically even though I uninstalled and deleted all that software that he put in my computer last week, the bugs are still in here. And for
you
some
sound
reason,
good now, though. See, now it's fine. So you don't even have to worry about.
I'm shouting. I'm shouting in my microphone.
Well, it's okay.
Even my mother hears me now, and she's totally stone cold.
Mike, is that you? Okay. I mean, it's good. All right. The event last night, fantastic. I don't know. Did you said you went in there and watched some of that tennis match because the Foss hooked us up when I schnorred for the tickets. So we had a great view. We were right behind. The baseline, sort of in a lower seat, and there isn't a bad seat in that house. But what a terrific event your friend from the Red Meat Lovers Club, Evan Darnell, put on.
Yeah, it was a great time, and I don't know how many meatballs I ended up eating. I know there was a lot of good ones there, and I don't know
Yes.
if Mustang ever got in there, but there wasn't much in the way for non-red meat eaters
She had the
because
chicken meatball that was made by your friend Suzanne, who has Rose's daughter's restaurant, and what is it, Brulee?
Brulee Bistro is where that
Yeah,
Asian chicken meatball was
she
from,
liked it.
and
Thought it was great.
it was different. I mean, it had this kind of a, kind of a what was it, a almond butter Asian kind of
I didn't go
soy
that far.
sauce.
I just said, hey, you know what? This tastes pretty good.
Well, it was different, and the
Yeah,
thing was, it was, I admire somebody who tries to go against the grain and put something out there that's completely different.
yeah.
But
It
this
didn't work in
was
that contest.
when it's the Red Meat Lovers Club and it's a meatball event. It wasn't a foul ball event. It wasn't a chicken ball event. So I know some of the judges in the judging room kind of arched their eyebrows, and they said, yeah, they liked it. But I don't know if it was in the spirit of the competition. So, but there was a lot of worthy, good, delicious bites there, and,
Yes.
and even Suzanne's was good. It was just, I needed a
No,
plate of,
it was out of picture in terms
yeah,
of it was OOP, the dog racing term that I always fell in love with when you'd see OOP next to a dog from the last race, and it was good. If it was in a chicken meatball or an alternative meatball type of
Yes.
competition, then a turkey meatball, whatever, it would have been no doubt a stunning knockout. But there were too many good red meatballs there, conventional meatballs, to win in that competition.
yeah. And I don't know how'd you have it ranked, because it was a very close.
I don't know that I tasted them all. And this is why we speculated that for you to do an accurate job and a competent job of judging, you would have had to have consumed about 7.5 meatballs last night.
Oh, but you don't have to eat the full meatball, even
Well,
though some
I
people
know,
do.
but it looks awkward when you chuck the plate in a garbage can right in front of the guy from Runyon's after taking one bite and going.
No, we had a separate judging room, and you went out to your fancy courtside box, having strawberries and cream with the Queen or the Duchess of York.
You
or
saw the
something like
floss,
that.
man. What a
But
great guy. Hooked me up. He's been doing the MC in there for, I think, like since the inception of the tournament, like 30 years ago. Yeah.
nice. No, and it's really well run event, and they have a nice food court out there
Nice,
for
yeah.
besides having these special events that they had in a special pavilion off to the side, and it was a really wonderful time. But I did not repeat the same mistake as last month when I went around and ate all the brisket at the brisket boxing competition before realizing and being told that there was a separate judging room with judges'
Okay,
plates
yeah.
later on. So this time, even though I was really hungry coming in there, and I kind of snuck one half of a ball from Windy City before the actual judging room took place. And I went into the judging room, and we had a full slate of judges, including, did you see who was there? Warren Sapp, one Mr.
Warren Sapp?
Yeah.
Because they're nice.
He
Wow,
came in
I
there
did not
late.
see him, yeah.
Yeah, no, because you were ducking off. You're such you had to go.
I really enjoyed
eating your
watching the tennis.
strawberries. Yeah, of course, you're a tennis
I mean,
fan.
it had nothing to do with that, Mike Mayo. You know what? You've lost this feeling. You've lost that love and feeling for sports, but I still dig it. I mean, I enjoy playing tennis. And so, and I will stop, as I was mentioning earlier, and if two guys can really just knock the snot out of the ball at the court next to me, you can't help but turn and watch and go in admiration. Wow, that is great that they can do that. So to see the pros, even like kind of mid-level pros, these guys were ranked like 50th and 80th in the world, hit the ball from that close. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every second.
And I got out there after the competition and the judging, and I saw about a game, and then it started sprinkling. And in true South Florida sports fan fashion, I just ran screaming to the exits. I'm getting wet. I can't.
But they couldn't really play. I mean, the conditions become very, very, tentative and treacherous. Especially if you notice they dry off the white lines because it's easy to slip. You don't want to jeopardize a high-level athlete and their career, by just persisting in a rain on a hard court like that.
No,
and they had to stop several times during that match.
Yeah, and all they had to do is lay down some of this Skyline chili because that
Yes.
was just, it definitely helped the whole, surface and prevent the sliding around. Although it is
that wouldn't have been very popular at the meatball thing. Now I only had two of the so-called conventional meatballs. I had the one from Runyon's, which I thought was fantastic, and I had the one from what was that
Windy
called?
City?
Windy City Pizza.
Yeah. Well,
that was great also. I thought both were excellent. I really did.
You chose correctly, my friend, because those ended up being the top two, and it was a very close call among the judges. But they award two trophies there: one the judges' choice, and one the people's choice.
People's choice.
And judges went for Windy City, which was a traditional big all beef Italian meatball with a really nice sauce that had a little garlic and basil, and a very traditional ball. It was tender, but also had some good heft and good meatiness.
Is that just a pizza place in general, or is it like an Italian restaurant?
Apparently, they have some pretty good meatballs too.
Yeah.
But and it's actually a meatballs throw away from the tennis center there. It's right on Atlantic Avenue in that strip of stores that's just to the west of the tennis facility there in Delray. And they're known for their Chicago, not deep dish pizza, although they have that. They are known for their thin, crisp tavern style Midwestern pizza, and they have a very good reputation, but apparently they have a full menu. I've never been in there, and I've got to get in there because
those meatballs were great.
I hear some really good things about their thin, crispy Midwestern tavern style pizza, and obviously they make a pretty darn good meatball. So that one narrowly won the judges competition.
Right.
And
how many judges were there? Our friend the Greek was involved.
There was the Greek was there.
But he doesn't eat much. I mean, did he even try it? I mean, did he fudge his vote? The Greek? We need to know.
I was so busy, with the magnifying glass and the microscope with my meatballs. I wasn't paying much attention to all the other judges. Although I did see Warren Sapp was just demanding ice for his Jack and Coke that he was scarfing down the Jack and Cokes, and everybody's got to do what they got to do to get through.
What was Sapp wearing?
Different meatballs.
I heard somebody that I thought was calling my name. Not that Sapp would recognize me from behind, because he hasn't seen me in 40 years, and I'm obviously not the same physical specimen. And not that I was a specimen then, but certainly I'm a dilapidated version now. But what was he wearing? Was he casually dressed?
I sent you a picture.
Oh, okay.
And he's there at the end of the table. It's kind of a aquamarine blue long sleeve. It looks like it says Duck Head. So that's the name of the gear he was wearing, was a Duck Head shirt. So Sapp was there, and he was enjoying his meatballs. There was a city commissioner from Delray Beach was one of the judges, a couple other members of the Red Meat Lovers Club. But we were all in pretty good consensus because it was a very close race between Windy City and Runyon's ended up winning the popular People's Choice vote. And
they went all out. I mean, they put a little pesto on the thing. It was already delicious to begin with. And then they threw a little ricotta, shot on there. What was that? What do you call it? In the culinary world, where they put like a droplet of stuff in there.
A dollop of ricotta cheese.
And it was divine. I have to say that was great.
I because of my reporting nature and my food just my food freak, I ended up talking to all the chefs of the good winning entries, and the Runyon's ball, if you notice, it was particularly very soft and kind of melt in your mouth. To me it was almost a little too soft. I like a little more texture. That's why on my judges scorecard I narrowly awarded it to the Windy City ball, but couldn't
go wrong there.
The Runyon's ball was very good. It was all beef, Wagyu beef. Ooh. And the secret was, how a lot of people put breadcrumbs or a little bread into their meatball mix along with some eggs. What these guys did, they took bread cubes and dunked it in half and half. Wow. And so it kind of sopped up this
French
cream.
Toast in the middle of it.
Like a French toast. and then they blended that into their Wagyu beef mix. Wow. And then they put it in the fridge for overnight to let it set and get cold, and he never brought it to room temperature before he cooked the balls. I don't know if he baked them or fried them.
Now, is this typically on their menu? Because I've been to Runyon's. That's a place in like what? Is it Coral Springs?
Sample Road, West Coral Springs.
Margate,
it's been there a long time. It's now run by the daughter and son-in-law of the original owner. They bought it out from, I think it's Jack O'Connell, who's a great restaurateur. And they took it
was
over.
always a classic, a standard here in South
Florida. I used to go there with Dougie McLean because the Panthers used to have their, I guess, practice facility. Well, actually, it was before they had the practice facility in Coral Springs, but a lot of the guys lived out in the Parkland, Coral Springs area. And I remember the night that Doug McLean got fired from the team, kind of held a wake.
You took him out to dinner?
Well, he kind of held a wake out there, and like everybody was gathering and commiserating with him. And I remember we had a good number of drinks and some good talk and some good food at Runyon's, and that was a long time ago. But now I don't think they typically have the meatball on their menu, but it came out again when they put it with those, half and half soaked bread cubes in there. It gave it like a really melt in your mouth, creamy quality to it. I found it a little too soft, but it was excellent meatball. It was good flavor, and
they're gonna have to put it on the menu.
A lot of people popular, and it was good to see. The son-in-law who runs it now. And I gave them a not too flattering review right after they took it over.
Very nice of him, yeah.
And but he
sure
took
they were
it in the right
pleased,
way.
To see you at the competition, slobbering down 7 of their meatballs.
We had a really nice we had a really nice conversation. He said, "Look, what you wrote was, we took it, we used it to make improvements. They made renovations,
constructive criticism.
That's the kind of owner that you like, and they're still going strong. They have a very loyal crowd." It's a place that during the pandemic they were able to survive because they have an outdoor seating area. And he said they learned a lot about the business and how to pivot and how to, do things better and more economically. But they are still having a great go of it out there at Runyon. So I told them I'd be making a return visit soon, and I'll bring you along as my taster, Defo.
I would be happy to go. Do they still have a guy at the piano going, feelings, nothing more than feel? Did they have a piano bar in there? I want to say yes for some reason.
They do. They do have a piano
all right.
player. Yes.
All right. Let me ask you this. How many other, I didn't really, I noticed there was like a catering place that had a booth with some nice stuff on the other side of the room there.
Well, they had like a full prime rib.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that. But and they weren't part of this competition.
No.
But so you had Runyon's, you had Windy City Pizza, you had Suzanne from
the chicken ball.
Brulee Cafe with the chicken ball. So what other, and wasn't there a thing from Prezzo's? I didn't see those guys.
Yeah, Prezzo was there, and their secret ingredient, they had like I guess a competition within a competition, because they have like 5 different chefs at their different locations, and they ended up holding an internal competition to figure out which ball they were going to submit, and they
picked the wrong guy, huh? I mean, I didn't taste that one.
I think they picked the wrong. Well, I liked it, but it was different. They used a 3-meat blend of beef, pork, and mortadella, which is an Italian cold cut. They ground up mortadella to go along with the other 2 meats, and it gave it a little bit more of a spice and a layer of flavor profile. Some people found it a little bit chewier. It was a good ball. Nothing wrong with it. All the balls were quality.
She's real good, yeah.
And then for the other one was from my friend George Patty at his name is it's Meat Eatery and Tap Room. There's one down in the Keys, and then now there's one up in Boca, and he's famous for hamburgers. But he made a meatball out of chorizo.
Aptly named Patty. Is that his real name?
Exactly.
Or did he change it like World Be Free or something?
He's a hamburger guy. That's his name is Patty, Patti.
Okay.
And he always likes to use chorizo because he gives it a little more of a spice and a different, kind of that South Florida Latino flavor. I don't know if it works so well in the meatball. I found it a little bit overly powerful. So that one did not make the cut in terms of carting off any of the hardware. But again, all the meatballs were good. I ate them all, and kudos to everybody that took part. And again, Evan Darnell and that Red Meat Lovers Club, they run events all the time, and they're always doing things for charity.
Yeah, very impressed.
Yeah, nice, good stuff. So thanks for coming out.
It was nice to see, too, the setup there, as you mentioned. I mean, the food was a little pricey, but nonetheless, great variety of food and drink there at the Delray Beach Tennis Center. It's a really nice event. I've been there before. And, you got to see some high-level quality play when it wasn't raining. And they had the later match. I guess this was being televised live on Tennis Channel, because when I got home, I was thinking, wait a minute, they had some kind of TV coverage here. I would imagine that's Tennis Channel. And I turned it on, and the second match was really good between Grigor Dimitrov, who I
he's
guess
good.
became known when he was like dating Sharapova or something. But he had a little rise to prominence. I think he was compromised by injuries. But you see these guys, and it's real interesting about sports where you have guys that were at the very top level, and now here they are like banging heads trying to grind out a 3-setter against the number 100 guy in the world in Delray Beach in front of a crowd of I don't know, were there 1,000 people in the stands? It was probably held back the attendance a little bit by what was intermittent rain that was happening in and out.
Yeah. Now, were those the quarterfinals? Are they coming up to the semis?
That was
round
round of 16. So
Okay.
the quarterfinals are coming up. You saw that guy Riley Opelko, the 6'11" guy with the monster serve, and that happened. That was an afternoon match, the last match of the afternoon. He was going against an American Jack Sock, and they were banging away. I mean, that was a real good 3-setter.
Yeah, it's that time of year where all the events are coming through. I thought it used to all be in March, but now next week is the Honda Classic already.
Wow.
PGA Tour Golf is coming to town, and
are you going to be involved in any coverage on that for your Best of Delray or something? Or
not
they don't
this
call on
year.
your golf expertise?
Not this year, but hopefully next year I'll get out there. But no, I know this because yesterday I was out at that memorial service, a celebration of life for Tim Rosafort, the great golf journalist, and
who's who of southeastern journalists? Was at this thing, and I guess national as well.
Yeah, no, I mean I saw some people I hadn't seen in a while out at Tim's celebration of life, including Jaime Diaz, great golf journalist, and he used to be with Golf Digest, and also
Steve Hummer, I think I saw.
Steve Hummer.
Steve Hummer.
Steve Hummer used to be the featured sports columnist at the Sun Sentinel back in the late 80s, and then he went on to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and he just retired a couple of years ago, but he was out there. He was also
legendary in Atlanta, Georgia. Steve Hummer.
Larry Dorman, who now lives in Southern California, and Larry, a little bit older than you, Defo. I didn't realize that, but Larry
he looks a lot better than I do.
No. You're looking pretty good, my friend. But Dorman, he for a time he was at the Herald, Miami Herald. He was at the Sun Sentinel. He went to the remember the National Sports Daily? He was their golf writer for the National for the
that lasted
15,
about 3 weeks,
15 minutes.
Before I went under. Yeah,
it was about 15 minutes. No, it was great. I think
concept though.
They had about 9-month run or something like that, or maybe about a year or so. But
why did that work? I mean, they had every great sports writer. You would think that if you were a sports fan, and I remember getting it, and I wasn't moved enough to actually subscribe. So I mean, maybe that tells you, because I'm still a newspaper hard copy delivery guy, even in this modern era where nobody gets a paper anymore.
The concept behind it, and it was bankrolled by this Mexican media mogul, Emilio Azcárraga, I think, or something. But anyway, the concept was like the way they have these all sports European all sports newspapers, like Gazzetta del Sporto in Italy or something like that.
El Chapo's publication, yeah.
Yeah, so he wanted to do the same thing in America, but from coast to coast. Now, it's a little difficult in a country that's so big and has so many different teams and so many different sports to follow. So if the goal was to hire all the top-tier talent and spend a lot of money to produce a great product, he did that. That was fantastic. If the goal was to make money, it was a complete bust, because they just couldn't make money at it, because these were back in the days where newspapers had their own healthy staffs and sports staffs, and it was really before the advent of the internet, and so people were not prone to pulling away from their local sports publication, from their local newspaper, and finding it in national. So that's why the National went under. Then Larry went on to become the golf beat writer for the New York Times, and then he parlayed that into being a big executive with the Callaway Golf Corporation.
That was a good move on his part, right? Everybody was swinging that Callaway metal wood.
Yeah.
Remember, you had to go out and buy one. And well, were you one of these guys, Mike Mayo? I mean, you dabble in golf, from let's say a recreational standpoint, like I did, because I think everybody that moves to Florida becomes obsessed with golf. If you're, a guy that enjoys playing any kind of sports, and then you get out there and it's fantastic, and you stripe a drive one time, and you can't believe how good it feels. It's like hitting a home run, like you were Bobby Thompson, and you just, helped the Giants win the pennant. And then whatever driver you try, though, after you get into some kind of a funk, and then finally somebody says, "Here, try my Yonex or whatever," and you actually, you cream a shot. And then you have to go out and buy one. It costs you like $300 every time you go out and play golf.
Right, and then you can't hit it
yourself
straight.
out of a slump. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll never hit one straight again, and that's why like I never bought drivers. I just snored them off of Dorman, and then no, and then the thing was,
so he was supplying you with new Callaways on a regular basis.
No, but maybe one time. But
how about that one that automatically straightened the ball out? I mean, that was a nice innovation there. It had like some kind of spikes in it and grooves that
it didn't work for lefty with a snap hook like me. And I'm strictly a 3-wood guy. I am conservative. Like
you don't take the driver out. Get out of here, man.
I am very happy with hitting it straight 200 yards down the middle, because straight 200 yards is a lot better than 280 yards completely to the left and wet. So that's what I've learned. Anyway, it was good.
Something up. I wanted to run by you here.
Well, I have to follow up with the professor. First of all, he was brilliant. He was great.
Brilliant.
I can't believe all the props and all the prep. All I have is my lousy box of Skyline chili,
and well thought out. It was really good. Yeah.
And he also well thought out how to destroy my computer and my my future.
No, you sound fine now. You probably
I
didn't know how to work the thing.
Yeah. I should have put your settings back. I didn't think.
No, it wasn't even that. I totally uninstalled it. I had no problems on the other thing this week. And then for some reason,
we're past that.
But we're past.
What are you doing with this box of Skyline chili?
I'm gonna bring it to you and make you defrost it and No, we've got to go to Skyline Chili. You owe me for the bet, because the bet
and Lubie's in on this too.
The Bengals plus the 3.5 points,
or 4 points,
the 4 points, and whatever. I'll take 3.5 now. That's okay.
Well, no, that's all you need. Yeah.
And so you.
What if it had been a push? Would we be going there, on our own?
Yeah, then we'd go on our own. But
going Dutch,
we'll have to, and we're going to take
a cart. Yeah.
I'm going to take my friend Chef Jeremy Ford, who's never been to to Skyline.
Yeah, get out.
Well, we'll get him on. He was on the show yesterday. He's a good guy. He has that TV show Fast Foodies, and he said he's never tried Skyline chili, but he seems like a guy
happy when he does.
This is a man who enjoys Taco Bell, so he's a
Taco Bell is in another category than Skyline chili. Taco Bell is highly edible, and especially under the circumstances which you need, which is to be completely inebriated and out of your senses altogether, including taste, to go to Skyline Chili and think you had a satisfying meal.
Are we doing this
to get back to the professor? And he was totally glomming on my turf, and that might be why he said in the spyware and the bugs. But I do want to follow up on a couple of points that he made. Number one, Guy Fieri absolutely needs de-douching.
Yes, he's right.
What happened to him? I haven't followed him lately. I mean, when did he turn?
He hasn't changed. He hasn't aged. We all age. We mature. He's the same dude he was like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
he gets injected with some sort of California formaldehyde, I guess. And he recently got this huge mega deal from Food Network. He got
$200 million.
I thought it was 130 million, 200, whatever it is. Yeah. But the bottom line is, why does he need to go out whoring for an extra $2-3 million from Budweiser for this absolutely fucking swill? Oh, sorry.
Okay.
But it's that Bud Light flavored seltzer is what he was pitching. Yeah. And here's the thing: you'll notice, like, everybody was like sipping it and saying, "Oh, he was trying to pitch it as a."
It really is a seltzer that's flavored like Bud Light.
Yeah, it's like a soda. I guess, what was it? The professor's description. It's like cherry soda flavored malt liquor. And I'm never going to be able to verify that, because you won't get me to touch this stuff. But you'll notice, because Guy Fieri is the mayor of Flavor Town, that's his shtick. And so they were pitching the great flavor of it, and everybody's on there drinking it. You notice Guy Fieri never took a sip.
Doesn't touch it.
Because this is a little known fact. Guy Fieri doesn't drink beer. He hates beer. He's a wine guy. He drinks wine, and he drinks this aperitif called Fernet Branca, and he loves that. But he
dated her
won't
once
touch beer
in college, Fernet Branca. She was quite a hot babe back then. Now not so hot on Facebook.
No, but Guy Fieri came to this Three Sons Brewery in Dania, which is one of my favorite places, and I knew the chef and the guy who brews these really, really interesting beers. Some of them, which also taste like cherry soda and things like that. He makes.
Did he
these
know
flavored
you,
beers.
Fieri? I mean, was he aware?
No,
that
I
you're
wasn't
the
in there
Gambling
when he
Gourmet?
taped.
Oh,
No,
okay.
his producers know me because they scour all like reviews from around the country,
right.
and they find out places to spotlight, and they must have found some of the things I wrote because they spotlighted a couple of places that I wrote about.
Le Tub, right?
But
Didn't he go to Le Tub?
he tried to go to Le Tub. Le Tub threw him out because he wouldn't drink there, and they wouldn't give up all their proprietary secrets. So they told him to get the freak out. So, but they went to
over under on the use of the F word by Mayo was 1 and a hook. So you're over on that.
Almost there.
Yeah.
But anyway, he refused to drink any of the beer, even though he doesn't spotlight beer on his show, and they didn't even want him to spotlight it on the show. He just spotlights food, but he wouldn't even just taste it while he was in there. So he is a douche, and that's it. Number 2, the McDonald's.
I was going to ask you about that.
What they're calling McDonald's hacks.
Land, air, and sea.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this with Burger Beast Seth Gonzalez on the Lunchbox show last week. That Seth was mentioning how McDonald's, when you pull up to the drive-thru, it's not a secret menu. It was actually on their screens on the drive-thru menu that they're calling it the McDonald's hacks, and all they're doing is piling on one piece of garbage on top of another, like a fillet of fish on a Big Mac, or a chicken, McChicken sandwich on top of a fillet of fish, and they don't save you any money. They're basically charging the same amount as if you ordered the two of them together and combined it. I don't see any kind of food value in it, but if you want to, if you're into bulimia and just like vomiting up your food, forget the Skyline chili and go with the McDonald's.
Combine them. Yeah, Nordic combined. That would be the vomiting combined. You froze there on us, Mike Mayo. What happened to you? He was doing fine. He was on a roll.
It's been in and out all morning.
Yeah. All right. That's not good. That's not a good development. I don't know that we want to end on that note. He was actually doing a pretty good job of staying with the theme of the show here with the professor and that hilarity that he provided. All right. I think we would just have to say sayonara to Mike Mayo here at that point. Yeah, he said, maybe 9:15 we would end this thing. No, he's frozen in time. That's it. Yeah. That's the beauty of this new system on Ion Channel is you can just eliminate a guy.
Get out.
What is that show, Round the Horn on ESPN, where they just take a guy out and all of a sudden he's a skull and crossbones? All right, well, all right. Thanks to Mike Mayo. He was actually going off in a very interesting direction here. I was curious to hear his opinion about the land, air, and sea, which does sound totally disgusting. I mean, you know what? Back in the day, I haven't eaten a McDonald's burger in a long time. I used to love them, though.
I'll eat them.
I really did.
I'll eat it here and there, but I don't combine stuff.
I like the little grilled onions on the regular burger. I'm not a big fan of the quarter pounder with cheese. It doesn't have like the same thing. If I'm going to do that, like a quarter pounder with cheese, I would go to like a more, sort of burger joint, like a Jack's Hamburgers or, whatever a hamburger place in town makes like a burger that you favor. But I mean, if you're going to pay like $8 for a quarter pounder with cheese, forget about it. Right. But I was a fan, and the occasional Whopper, which originally disgusted me.
The Whopper's interesting.
What happened to Thousand Island dressing? I mean, do you ever hear anybody offer that in a restaurant when they tell you what kind of dressings they have for their salad?
It used to be an automatic ranch.
It was French, Italian, and Thousand
Island, and now you never hear Thousand Island anymore. It's so funny.
Russian and Russian dressing, right? Was big.
Gone. Russian's been long gone.
All gone, right? Why? Because they were like thoroughly disgusting in terms of compromising your ability to live past 60. I don't know, but I mean, I haven't been, but I mean, the occasional Whopper was pretty good. Why would you put like a fillet of fish sandwich on that? I mean, that seems utterly disgusting.
Well, these are the new commercials. I guess people around the country like mess around with McDonald's. I guess they get really high or whatever the hell they do and futz around. So I guess they were sending them into McDonald's. So McDonald's made commercials. Now it's on their commercials, like McDonald's hacks. And I guess they are offering it at the restaurant. I don't know. I've never thought to put it a double cheeseburger and in between I put chicken nuggets.
That's ridiculous.
Like, why would I want to do that?
I mean, I know a lot of people from Pittsburgh love Primanti Brothers, but do I need French fries on my burger? No, I don't.
No. I never
on the side, yes. Tremendous. Right on the thing? I don't think so. Although, people from the Steel City there, well, they're drinking all that Iron City beer. So what do they know about good taste? Anyway, good time had by all.
Yes.
That's our deal, Volkswagen Degenerate Friday here on ION Channel. Later on, we'll be on the Believe Podcast Network. You can find that. That's BLEAV. And Mike Mayo with Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. If you're anywhere around the world, actually, you can catch that on the Odyssey. That's AUDACY app.
Yep.
Or locally here in town, the Almighty. Although I don't know. I mean, that place is going through transition, right?
Interesting. Right now that he's still there.
1470 WWNN. The great mystery is, what do they do? Now, rarely does this happen, though, where a station would add personnel after a sale or a transaction. Usually it's like everybody's toast there. So we'll see what happens with that.
Use the app. You use the app. Get used to the app.
I say we just broadcast the whole thing on ION Channel.
Digital form.
Yeah.
Because soon enough, hopefully, exactly, the digital is where Mayo will be. That's I think the idea. So we'll figure it out. But yes, you can check these guys out each and every day, 12 to 1. It's a lot of fun.
All right, find out from the Greek if he fudged his balloting yesterday, the meatball
yeah,
competition.
He doesn't eat a lot. Like he'll get pizza whenever I'm hanging out with him at the cigar bar, and he'll have like a slice. He'll get like a whole pizza for the two of us, and he'll have a slice. It's like, okay.
He didn't look like he was inclined by slobbering down meatballs by the half dozen like Mayo did. All right, we will see you guys on Monday. Been a pleasure being with you all week long. Had a lot of fun. The professor, again, outstanding. You can catch that. Just Google the Defo Show. All the shows are archived. Go back to his thing last week. It was hysterical. I think he topped it even this week with his big board of Super Bowl suck. Which, I mean, how did he top that Trump party? That was fantastic. And next thing you know, there's Ben Affleck and J-Lo with a big, widely in focus on the screen. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time. For Mike Lubitz, I'm Jeff Deforrest. Thank you so much for checking out the Defo Show here on ION Channel. We'll see you Monday at 7 in the a.m. on the East Coast and around the world and around the globe at various times. Thanks so much again for joining us, and we'll see you next time as we leave you now that. It's 9:30.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.
Big Dog Rescue. We got you beauties. They don't look as happy as that little puppy.
Working all day in the sun.